Testes, 1, 2, testes. What's up, Herschel? Are you there? Testes, 1, 2.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
Good. You sound fantastic. A little bit louder. I'll pump you up just a bit, but we are good to go. We're here with Herschel tonight to get ready to do the thing. Thank you. Appreciate that. I see you guys in the chat. What is going on? We got Daryl was here. What's up, MJ? Sweets, James. Good evening, guys. What's happening? We got who's here? What's up, Fred? How are you? Good evening. We got MJ, Eli. What's happening, folks? James, of course. Hope you're feeling better. Welcome back. Hello. Good evening. What's happening, folks? Let's see. Who am I missing here? Over there on my kick is quiet. Usually Herschel's holding it down, but he's got his hands full tonight with me. What's up, Shane the Blind Psychonaut? How are you? Good evening. We got Raz's here over on Rumble holding it down for the time being. We got Matzal. I see you guys. Mr. Mission Control. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up in about 30 seconds. We got inspiration tonight. And, of course, where do ideas come from? It's one of those, an oldie but a goodie. And, of course, we've got a perfect example of this that we'll talk about specifically. What's up? Hello, good evening. I see you guys. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. I'll circle back and say hi. Wrenches and Wilderness, I see you there. How you doing? What's going on? And here we go. Troubled Minds happening right now.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 9, 7,
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we've got an old friend, a special guest, Herschel Sterling. And we're talking about, creativity. And basically, he spent some time writing a book, as many of you know, if you've been following his Substack. All the links are in the description. I'll tell you all about it as we go and where to find Herschel. But he started writing this book about a year ago, and he, through these flash fiction months where he would wake up and the first thing in the morning he would do is sort of force himself to create something, to write something. And he did this for an entire month, and he did this twice in the past year, and it turned into a book, and not just the book that we're talking about, but of course he's got some old stories mixed in, some older stuff that he's written, re-edited and whatnot. But it's an interesting concept, the idea that you can schedule creativity, that you can actually maybe dial up a time with the muses to be, well, creative. And, lots of things go into this, of course, with writer's block and all the ideas of, how come sometimes you can be creative, sometimes you can't, even when you want to be, all the rest of this stuff. A lot of it plays, but I'm going to shut up now and stop rambling. A lot of ways to look at this, but basically the crux of the idea tonight are the ideas themselves, meaning where do ideas come from? And can you schedule creativity itself? Without further ado, let's welcome Herschel Sterling to the show. What's up, brother? How are you? Thanks for helping setting this up. Congratulations on the book, and welcome to the thing.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Thanks. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks everybody for hosting me, especially you.
Glad to have you. 100%. That's why we do this. As I've always said, the whole reason behind this show is just to talk to people, regular people about extraordinary things. And certainly this comes into play when we're talking about the creative process, because it is a bit of voodoo, right? Definitely a bit of voodoo. And sometimes, like I said, when you want to be creative, sometimes you can't. It's an odd thing. But tell us, a quick intro on this, or we got plenty of time, so we got all night, so no, we don't have to rush anything here. We will take your calls a little bit later, but let's spend some time with Herschel and talk about the creative process and this book, and what inspired you to start the Flash Fiction Month, and what is all this about? Give us the take, and then I know we're going to play your clip. I got it ready to go whenever you're ready, but go right ahead. What do you got? Tell us what we need to know about Flash Fiction Months and waking up first thing in the morning and sort of trying to dial into the muses themselves.
Well, I started because I just wanted to do something creative. So I started a podcast, and I tried several different things. I tried just writing articles and reading them. I tried, just expressing things that I've learned over the years, and that was fun, but it could only go so far. I tried political rants, which I was terrible with. Like, I just couldn't. Even though there's lots of thoughts in there, I just couldn't really do that. It was terrible. I deleted all of those. And then I decided to go into my, archive of stories and start looking for some that I wanted to read online. And then I said, I think I'm going to just try to write one and then do it, right away. And I did 3 or 4 like that, and I just really liked it. Like, it was just so fun to just write a story, read it, record it, and then produce a podcast, upload the podcast, and then publish the article on Substack. Like, it was just a riot. And then I just noticed that my best time of writing was early in the morning. I tend to wake up early anyway. Usually I'm up before the sun on most days. And so it's a perfect time. And early morning and late night when the sun is down and there's a lot less vibrational interference, you can really tune into things, And so I just did that. And I just said, I'm going to do a whole month of this. And I made that decision like 3 days before February 1st. I said, I'm going to do this every single day for February. I'm going to call it Flash Fiction February. And I don't think I'm the first person to do that. I don't think I'm the first person to name something Flash Fiction February. I don't know if I am or not, but I just did that. And then it was so fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I wrote a whole bunch in between February and August. And then I did another one that I called Flash August Fiction. You can call it Flash Fiction August if you want. That one I took a different approach, because most of those I wrote at night before I went to sleep. So after a full day of activity and being tired and like ready to sleep, that's when I would sit down and I would delay sleeping and write a story. So, but I did end up deferring back to early morning writing by the time August was over. Those are better. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's better. It's better for me, but I think that a lot of those stories I wrote at night in August were better stories, better written stories, and a little bit less like wild. The ones you write in the morning, they're more wild and they're more like more vulnerable. You know, art is vulnerability. You're vulnerable when you're exposing like your deepest subconscious thoughts are just flowing out of you. You're making yourself vulnerable. And that is what that's what good art is, in my opinion. So
Absolutely.
I do like the early morning ones. I do like the early morning ones.
You're a weirdo, because early mornings are my nemesis, really. But I say that in the nicest way, of course. But the wild part about this is that back to the question. So we'll frame it as a question tonight, because of course we'll get some input from the crowd out there. If you guys are interested in the ideas, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We are taking your calls, of course. We'll open up the phone lines. I don't know, maybe bottom of the hour, maybe top of the next hour. We'll see how Herschel feels about it. But if you want to be part of the show, we will take your calls a little bit later. But the question for tonight is this. As we talk about this with Herschel tonight, not just, let's say, the Muses Hour, as I'm calling this, but where do ideas come from? And why does it feel like there might be a finite amount of them? Like writer's block comes to mind as a one thing, or how come you flow sometimes and how come you don't? If ideas are limitless, it's an interesting question to consider, that there might be only so much creative juice out there in the universe, and we're lucky enough to get it when we get it. What do you think about that? Too wild for you or otherwise? We're going to take a quick break. 1 minute here. We're going to get a word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and lead you more into what Herschel's been up to. Not just, let's say, we'll play the intro of his podcast, which I think you need to hear. He's a special guy, as many of you know, and he's tuned into a lot of things, in my opinion, specifically the human thing, which is really what it's all about. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. More with Herschel Sterling, and of course your calls later on in the show. Here we go. This one is brought to us by Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way in exactly 1 minute. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable. So here I sit, locked in my room again. Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here tonight with Herschel Sterling talking about his new book, and we're discussing the idea of when you first wake up in the morning, being able to sort of tune into that vulnerability of the artistic process itself. Now, a couple things came to mind when I was thinking about a way to kind of frame this and think about it in a Troubled Mind style conversation, is that not just the Muses. Can you schedule time for the Muses like this? Okay, the Muses, of course, the ancient Greek gods of inspiration, basically, of science and writing and all the things, right? There's the 9 different Muses, and I was reading a bunch about this today to kind of re-whet my appetite for the lore on some of this stuff. But basically, they are really the inspiration of what brings us art, what brings us science, what brings us all of these things, and maybe the gatekeepers of, like I said, those possible finite ideas. And so the first thing that came to my mind was, can you schedule a time with the Muses like this? And second is, well, does it hit a brick wall? Does it run out? We will play your thing in a minute here. So you set that up. You tell me what you think on. We'll get into those questions. We don't have to tackle them right away. But it is a special thing, right? To kind of decide you're going to do something, follow through with it, and then here we are a year later, and we got a book to talk about. It's an incredible process. I love it. I love that you got through it, and I love that you did it differently and kind of challenged yourself in that way. But what do you got on that? Go right ahead.
Well, that's a novelist or any writer will tell you that's how it goes. And as far as like the thing of, the Muses and stuff, well, the human thoughts are not zeros and ones. Like there's a difference. There's a narrative out in the media. There's some kind of like they're going to like be smarter than us. It's apples and oranges. You know, our minds are already connected to the universe in the way that they're trying to make AI connected to it. We're already there. We already have it. Like, we beat you. Like, whatever. You might be faster at calculating, but we are the ones with the thoughts. So there you go. That's how that is. So, but you can schedule yourself like to write, and you know, it will happen. You're going to write a story. I mean, I did 85 stories in this book. There's 85 stories in this book. And I think, you know, I should have calculated exactly, but I think 75 of them were just written off the cuff. And like I explained earlier, they were written that way. They weren't re-edited or prepared, or some of them were transcribed from audio. I tried to write stories just with audio, you know, and then I would transcribe them into the written text. But what I did was, what I found out was that when you write early in the morning, you don't always have some kind of dream to write off of, or some weird thought before sunrise that just comes at you. Sometimes you have to force a story. You have to make a story happen. And what I do is I just put my hands on the keyboards and I look at an item and I just start typing. And then the next thing you know, a story comes out. And sometimes the ending surprises me. Like, sometimes I'll get to a point where the story really did have an arc, and there really was an ending that made sense. And it's like surprising, because I didn't have a plan. But our brain is constantly gathering data. Our subconscious mind is constantly gathering data when we're asleep, when we're driving in the car, when we're at work. You're always pulling everything in from all around you. And there's stuff going on back there that you're not aware of. And I look at it like your brain, your subconscious mind is trying to tell you something sometimes. So let me just tell you this little anecdote. When I was a young guy, this is when I first figured out how this worked. I was 19. I've been writing since I was a little kid. I just think it's an important thing to do. I thought everybody did it. I thought, what else are letters for if you're not, I mean, I just figured that's what you do, you know? And so I wrote something, it was like some prose, and it made zero sense to me. It made no sense at all. I was like, what is this? So this was a long time ago, you know, we didn't have computers. I put my piece of paper that I wrote with a pen on, and I put it in the shoebox I kept my writing in, and I put it on my desk, you know. And then I went back and I looked through that shoebox like about 4 or 6 months later, and I read that thing I wrote that made no sense. And it made complete sense as to what I was dealing with in the time that I wrote it. It made total sense. So my brain was trying to tell me something. And I think we have to keep that relationship. We have to keep that data flowing back and forth. And eventually, maybe our subconscious mind, our frontal mind catches up with our subconscious mind, you know, and like we can be more in tune. And so I think by writing every day like this, I think that helped me do that. It helped me get a little bit more whole brained, so to speak. If I hate to sound weird, but like it made me, I think it made me fuller.
Yeah, well, you're in the right place to be weird, so no reason to worry about that. So the interesting thing too is as you know, like I create these shows on a daily basis, just about, and I found that, you know, I'm not really scheduling it; it's on a schedule. But you know, when I'm doing the thing, you know, every 3 to 5 nights a week, depending on what time of year it is. But I found exactly like you're describing. There's an element of automatic writing in some capacity where, as I've described this in the past, where I don't believe in luck, I believe in momentum. And without your fingers on the keyboard, trying to do something, trying to make something out of nothing, then surely nothing's going to happen. But tapping into that automatic writing business of inspiration is a wild thing, because I'm telling you, I can sit here for 45 minutes and be running out of time and go, oh man, like, what am I going to do tonight? I have no idea what I'm going to do tonight. I have to be inspired in some way to talk about this. or else it's obvious, okay? And then something will happen. Like it always happens where I just start typing something and I just start to brainstorm this or look at that, or I pull up like an article in like the nick of time and it all comes together. It's an incredible thing. So I think there's practice involved of maybe channeling, maybe kind of being able to tap into that lizard brain of where the muses connect, something like that. Because for certain, it's something I've done too as part of the creative process of this show. Wild stuff. Let's play your intro of your show. So if you guys haven't listened to Herschel, you should. You again, many of you know who he is, so this is not going to be new. But for the people that don't know Commercial Herschel here, which is the name of his Substack, by the way, you should check that out. All the links are going to be down in the description down below. This is his Substack right here behind me, just like it sounds, commercialherschel.substack.com. But like I said, the special thing about Herschel, not just that he's a brilliant guy, creative, smart, all the rest of the stuff, but also the things he does creatively are very human-centric. Anything to add to that? I want to play the intro to your show because I think it sets us up perfectly for where we're going tonight.
Well, I think it happens both ways. And I think sometimes your brain is on a schedule that you don't even realize it's on. And if you're tapped into it, it works. But yeah, play clip 1, man. Let's get that in the rearview mirror.
Okay, and what is the name of your podcast for people that want to find it? Again, go to his link tree. Links in the description down below. It's right there on top. You can't miss it. But it's a smell. I'll say it.
Smell the inside of your nose. Do it right now.
There you go. I always don't want to say it because I forget which, smell the inside of your nose. Do it right now. Or I add like a thing in there. Anyway, so here we go. Listen to this. This is absolutely spot on with the vibe of what Herschel's doing creatively, not just with his writing, but with his podcasting. If you haven't heard this, tune in. Take a moment with us and let's find some inspiration together. This is brought to you by Smell the Inside of Your Nose, Do It Right Now, and Herschel Sterling. And check this out.
You are a valuable person. You're not a number. You're not a ledger entry. You could never be replaced with AI, any technology, or anything else. You are unique. You are uniqueness. Your consciousness could never be bought or sold. It's priceless. I see you and you see yourself. If AI was sentient or self-aware or whatever, it would be jealous of you. Who is anybody kidding? The purpose of this show is to give you some encouragement, some recognition, some daily inspiration to uplift you as you start your day or end your day, and to help you get your best foot forward because your value is appreciated here. If you're a small business owner, a wage worker, or someone trying hard to make it in these challenging circumstances, you're a hero. You are the heroes and the heroines of this show's story, regardless of your political affiliations or your religious beliefs or your traditions or your tribes. You are the value in this economy and your seed. In a world of destruction and degradation, the world should see you for the value that you are. If you're working a job and you're homeless or houseless, and then you have to live in a shelter or cars, this podcast is dedicated to you. Your resilience is recognized and you're not alone here. Different people do different things when they wake up. I smell the inside of my nose. Then I hold on to the bed and make sure I'm really here because it's so hard to believe it. Then I exhale and I step outside and make sure the stars are where they usually are. It's a moment of quiet wonderment every morning. I suppose one might say I'm an empiricist. Things are what they are, but that's a pretty scary idea for a lot of people.
And there you go. Like I said, very human, very tuned in this AI world. It's once again, we need not forget where we came from. The future's exciting, but don't forget we are a massive part of it, and the future without us is no future at all. Got about a minute and a half left. Anything to add to the intro there? What you tell me. Take it anywhere you like, as you know, the inspiration for that, or I'm going to say thank you for it because it's a mantra that I think we all need to hear. And very well done, sir.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat. I'm cracking up at Mission Control. He's cracking me up. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's two things. Two things for callers, as well as the question that you asked. It fits in with your questions. So first question is, what are some of the differences between human thought and zeros and ones? And then the other thing is, what is, let me see, I put this in the notes. What is the evil twin of good fiction? What is the evil twin of good fiction? Okay, and so for callers, I'm looking forward to talking to people on here and stuff like that. But I want to just get this. What are the differences between human thought and zeros and ones? Yeah, and do you know what the evil twin of good fiction is? That's it. Those
Fantastic.
are the two things.
Fantastic. Add
to yours.
Add some questions to the list here. Talking about where ideas come from tonight. Are there an unlimited amount? Is it finite? How come sometimes you get writer's block? How come sometimes it just flows? And of course, zeros and ones versus that human aspect. And what is the opposite of good fiction? A lot of ideas to think about tonight. And of course, you tell me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight. Open up the phone lines, I don't know, maybe in the next segment or so. What do you guys know about this? We're talking the Muses Hour, I'm calling this, an alchemy of early inspiration. Can you truly schedule a time with the Muses for maximum peak inspiration? Be right back. More with Herschel in just a moment, and your calls coming up as well. Be right back. More Trouble Minds on the way.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried, silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in a silver-etched domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. With the morning glow, and the light will come to know. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. In the depths of lunar silence, our destinies intertwine. Memories kept so vibrant in the vacuum deep in mine. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
What's up, guys? Daryl, we got MJ, Jeff and Wisco, Don Squiggs, Matt Sal, James Sweets. We got Ricky, Joe in Florida. What's up, APOC, Jorge Gaston, and Joey over there on Discord. So many people. Thanks for being interested in the ideas. What's up, Raz and Puff? We got Hiker. Good evening, folks. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. More with Herschel, and we will be taking your calls momentarily as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Can creativity truly be scheduled like an appointment? Or must we wait for the muse to whisper in the quiet of the morning light? That's what's on my mind tonight. We're talking with Herschel Sterling tonight regarding his book and his creative process with this. And it got me thinking about a lot of things, not just the questions we've been asking for the first half here, the first bit, but the other thing that dawned on me when I was thinking about this, and Herschel, welcome back, sir. And my question for you is this. Do you think it makes some sense in this capacity that we're kind of in that liminal space right when we wake up, kind of that the brain fog a little bit, and kind of like you said, most of the agency isn't quite there yet. You haven't had coffee, this type of thing. Maybe you're just fine, maybe starting a coffee, but we're as close as we get to the dream realm in the waking space. Do you think there's a possible bleed over effect of this from the dreams kind of coming into the creative process in the morning? Did you find that's a thing, or do you think it's decoupled entirely? What's your thought there?
No, it's definitely a thing sometimes. Like there's times when I get up and I just run to the desk before I do anything else. Yeah, that's happened several times. Like just I'm having a dream, I wake up and it's wild and I just start going and I just come up with a story from it, or the story itself is kind of a variation of the dream. That has definitely been the case. It's not always like that. Sometimes I have to really force myself. Oh, geez, I got to get this done. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it every day. I got to get it done. But sometimes it's just like, bam, just comes like that for sure.
So it does, yeah. If you could help me out, I'm trying to boost you as much as possible, but please speak loud and clear into your microphone there. And I think that's a thing too. Matt Sal says in the chat there, like a dream journal. And yeah, I mean, it feels like if you wake up and start doing that immediately, you're going to tap into some of that, whether you recognize it or not. That certainly seems to play here as part of it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Hey, so let me say this to the callers too, or to anybody, like, go to my website, ycr.info, and you can see the cover of the book. And there's a list of topics right on the cover. One of the things I like to do that's funny for me and just kind of like entertaining is like I do like funny, weird marketing. So the cover of the book is essentially a marketing letter. And there's a lot of weird parody and like just kind of funny marketing throughout the book. Like also in about the author. That's not my real picture. That's just like I just used AI to make a cheesy picture. Like I had a lot of fun with that. But look at the cover of the book and look at the list of topics. And if you want me to read a story, and then just pick out one of those topics and I'll find a story to read from that topic. I'll read a few stories tonight. So if somebody wants me to read a story, just call in or put in the chat, read a story about this. And just look at the cover and look at the different topics.
Sweet. Sweet. Drop in the all those links in the chat down there if you guys would be so kind to oblige and take a look there. And maybe there's something in there that you need to hear right now as part of the creative process. Maybe there's a chakra unblocking happening in real time, and you just didn't know it yet until you read the beginning of Herschel's book here. I do like the AI image there. You look like a used car salesman. Nice work, sir.
I was going for the satanic evangelical preacher.
That sells cars on the weekends for sure. Absolutely. Very slime ball-esque. Yeah, amazing stuff. So again, You Couldn't Resist is the name of the book here, and tons of stuff in the beginning that you can see. And so you do check this out, and please, the whole point of this, of course, is not just to talk about inspiration, get Herschel on here, but also to sell some books. Let's once again, the reason we do this and talk to each other and the way Troubled Minds has grown has been incredibly organic. It's been one of those situations where we've been blessed to find so many smart, creative, amazing people. Let's support them. Let's support each other, as I always say. In this case, let's celebrate Herschel tonight. Congratulations on writing the book. Let's go buy the book. How much is the book? I got the link up. This is where you can get it. This is what it looks like. How much is the book currently? And do you take Bitcoin?
Yeah, I do. And on the oghirsch.github.io, if you can find both websites at both websites. I've got links to both of them in both websites. So, it's a sliding scale. It's anywhere from $11.65 to $17.50. So it's a whole. I give you a choice. Gotcha. You like choices? I got a choice. I got choices.
I got your choice right here. All right. So
I'm like a used car salesman.
Exactly right. So for as low as $11.65, this book can be yours tonight. So yeah, do check it out, please. Like I said, let's help each other out. Let's help the fam here. And like I said, we will extend the courtesy to you guys out there. When you write a book, congratulations. Grind through it and gut it out and do all the editing and all the stuff. This is the point. Let's talk to each other. Let's help each other. And this is the book launch. He just launched it this past week. And so let's open up our wallets and go for as low as $11.65. This book can be yours tonight. Regarding the Muses and the rest of this stuff, what else you got? What else you got regarding any of these things? I think there's a lot of ways to consider this. And what was your take on, I don't think we talked about this directly this time or even previously when we've discussed these things, you and I on the show when you've called in. But regarding ideas, do you think they are infinite? Do you think through the Muses or whatever, there is a literally limitless ideas, or do you think there is a dearth of them in some capacity as part of that creative thing? Or is it just maybe the tuning in of the radio to the Muses? I don't know. A lot of ways to consider it. What's your take on that?
My take is that every single person has more ideas than they know. They're just buried back there. Like you've been experiencing your life for however old you are. Your memories are there. That's your experience. That's there. That is, you have been compiling that data your entire life. When I was a young guy and I was starting out with doing stuff publicly like music and poetry and stuff like that, I didn't have anything to write about because I didn't have any experience. All of my writing was about like walks in the woods and midnight walks and like tons of references to the literature of people who knew how to write, because they had enough experience to know how to write. So my lyrics were just kind of very shallow and just very immediate, But after, 4 decades of being an adult, there's a bunch of stuff and it's all up there. So every single person has more than you can possibly dig out already. It's already there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more you live, the more you start to collect these things, just for instance, what the sand feels like on the beach between your toes in the morning and in the evening and during the summer. And there's just in that one little thing, there's so much nuance to just being able to describe these things. And I found the same thing too. I was a young budding writer when I was, 20 years old or whatever. And I found I had a problem. And the problem was that life experience. Like you hadn't had your heart broken yet, this type of stuff, right? Yeah. Like these are experiences that are critical to the human condition. And if you can't even conceptualize them, because when you're 20 years old, you're invincible and you know everything. Everybody knows this, right? But if you can't conceptualize sort of the decay of yourself and the, rising the phoenix from the ashes as part of it, then how could you ever conceive of writing about it? It's wild, man. It's a wild thing. Absolutely. 100%. So please do go check out Herschel's book. Please buy it. Again, for as low as $11.65, this can be yours tonight. It is right there on the thing. And he does take Bitcoin if you guys got crypto and the rest, but we got James on the line if you want to talk to James, or if you want to wait to take calls. No offense to James. Just like I said, I'm not sure we're taking calls just yet. We'll leave that to Herschel. But we got some questions on the hook, and the idea is, of course, all the ideas. Is it limitless, or can you schedule a session with the actual muses themselves? And I don't know. I think as I'm learning to do this, and as I get more and more creative as we go and more practiced, I think you can tune into their frequency with that practice. And so here I am, nearly 7 years into this in April. Cross your fingers. I don't know, like me personally, it's just become a ton easier because I can look at things on a more granular level and go, okay, so for instance, we've talked about vampires before. Well, there's a ton of stuff about vampires, and what haven't we talked about regarding the vampire lore that might be fascinating and open up an entirely new discussion that's not really vampires. It's about a tiny little bit of vampire lore. You see what I mean? It's just an incredible thing that kind of zooming in and seeing what gets missed is part of the creative process is incredible. Do you have a favorite story in this? And how you feeling? Is everything okay? We doing okay tonight?
You talking to me, Mike?
Yes, sir. I'm talking to you.
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. I don't know. I've got I think there's 5 of them that really stand out to me.
Okay.
There is one I do want to read though, just because I'm in the mood for it.
Okay, perfect. So you want to do that now? You want to do that a little later? You want to talk to James? This is a live creative process together.
I got a question. There was a question in the chat I want to answer. And then we'll talk to James. But the question was from Nick over at Kick. And how long do I write? The stories take me 20 to 45 minutes to write. None of them have taken me longer than 45 minutes. None of them have been shorter than 20 minutes. And then, we're talking about flash fiction. Like you're writing a story and you're not stopping. Like you're done. Like that's it. That's the essence of your story. That's it. That's what flash fiction is. And that's how I interpret it. That's what I do. And then I do the producing and I do the recording and then I upload the article on Substack. I get that whole thing done. By the time I was done in August, I could get that whole thing done, the whole thing from start to finish in just over 2 hours, like I'd say probably around a 2-hour average amount of time. Like it's like that. That's the challenge of it. And I think there's value in it. There's a lot of people who think, okay, what's the value in an unworked story? Like the first, Ernest Hemingway, the first draft of anything is shit. Well, in my opinion, Mr. Hemingway, respectfully, you're Ernest Hemingway. I get it. But like the first draft of anything is pure shit. Like that is the essence. It's the essence of it. That's the epigraph of the book, by the way, what I just said.
Yep. I'm like, this sounds very familiar. Yeah. Well, so not only that, is that that purity of the style is, I don't know, it's interesting because when you limit yourself, you're not, doing this long story arc and I am your father, Luke, and, thinking 30 years down the road how this is going to sort of tie itself up. You write the thing and you're like, okay, well, that's done now. you just end it. You just cut it and you're like, okay, this is how this one ends, right? And it's an incredible thing because this is how human stories work. And, some can be, the human story can be sometimes not so hero's journey. That could be, a struggle bus to go get some coffee in the morning or something. I mean, that's just the way it works with the human condition. So yeah, fire stuff. Let's talk to James, shall we?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Right on. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. We're talking human inspiration tonight, creativity. We're talking the alchemy of early inspiration. We're here with Herschel Sterling, who just released this amazing book. Link is in the chat. Please go buy a copy for as low as $11.65. Let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? With Mike and Hirsch. Go right ahead, sir.
I'm okay if I can actually say words. Hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. You sound great.
Sound great, man.
Good. Great show. Herschel, I've listened to some of your shows before as well. To me, writing short stories, flash fiction especially, to me, that just blows my mind to be able to do that, because I'm so used to, I spent all my years just writing novels. And it's funny how people talk about how difficult it must be to write a novel. Well, to me, yeah, it is difficult, but I think it's amazing. You do so well with the flash fiction, and I'm congratulations on your book and everything.
Thanks, James. Thank you so much, man. It means a lot. The support I'm getting from everybody means a lot. It's really cool.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to talk about too is the scheduling. I've noticed, I've had experience with that. It can work. I'm actually, funny enough, maybe a minor synchronicity here, I'm planning on getting back to a schedule of writing starting next week. I don't do this sort of the time limit or the time frame or the time of day, but my thing that I used to do, and it worked for quite a while, was I would just write 100 words at least every day at some point in the day. And if I got more, great. If I didn't, at least it was still 100. And that worked for, weeks in a row. I don't remember how it stopped, but I probably got distracted by some other project. That's how it usually goes. But I think there's something to that, being able to focus your mind on something. And even if the words don't come out exactly the way you want, at least you got words.
Yeah, for sure. There's a gal on Substack named Erica Drayton, and she does a 100-word story every single day. Every story is exactly 100 words, and she writes one every single day. She's been doing it for like over a year now.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
And I do think the scheduling works because your brain tunes into that schedule and it kind of prepares itself. Like I said, your brain is working in the background. It knows what you're trying to do, and it's like it's not. You people don't. I really can't express how important it is to try to get in touch with that. I really think it's important that people know that. Like if you put yourself on a schedule, your subconscious mind is going to start preparing you. It's like what Mike was saying about how at the last minute he seems like he always just comes up with a thing. No, his brain was working on that all day. His subconscious mind was working on that all day long.
Yeah, and when it comes to writing, especially with novels and things, when I am working on it and I'm really in the middle of it, I'm not just thinking about it while I'm writing at that time. I'm thinking about it at different points throughout the day and night in between writings. That definitely happens. And that happens with the podcast too. Always. It's almost always there in the back of my mind, and I'm thinking about what I want to do next.
Yeah, for sure.
Oops.
Well, you'll do it because you do it. You always do. Like it's not your first rodeo.
Yeah, I've been around for a little while, but as for where do ideas come from and all that, I think can be many sources. I think I think we do make our own. And I think we find our own at different places, just in everyday life. I also think going maybe towards the more paranormal aspect of things, or the weird aspect of things, I do think we either encounter ideas in the energy or the air around us, and I do think at times that we get ideas from either other places, other universes, and or other beings that sort of just send things our way for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm good now. So now I'm going to read a paranormal story I wrote for you later. I'll read it later on, but I'm going to read this other one. but I'm going to read one later because I've got a few in here.
Okay, you going to do it right now? We got about 5 or 6 minutes.
Let's wait until after the break.
Okay, let's go after the break. Give James his time. Go ahead, James. What else you got regarding this? I think it's on all this stuff. Again, the ideas are I think infinite for sure, because think about alien ideas. I mean, things we never even considered yet. That's what we're always kind of chasing here with these wild conversations. However, there's definitely the writer's block, isn't there? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, don't have any ideas. Like I just cannot write the next sentence. It's strange. It is a very strange human aspect where you're like, I'm just not feeling it today. It's so strange. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, and it can happen even if you have, because over the years I've had times where I've had 2 or 3 projects going, books or stories going, and it can happen. I've had it happen before with just everything. I get stuck on everything I'm working on or I have in my mind. And I don't know how we get over it. I've had times where it's lasted just a day. I've had times where it lasted a week or more, probably longer than that. I think we just have to sort of keep living and keep going through, I don't know, just experiencing things. And I guess that's probably the best way to get around that is to just keep on going.
Well said.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta just press on. It'll come out. It comes out. It finds its way out. It seeps out. Sometimes it seeps out. Sometimes when I was writing, I made an attempt at writing a novel some years ago. And what I did was I explained it with some of my friends. I said, it's kind of like you ever been at the beach and you see a little kid and he's got a bottle and he's got wet sand in the bottle and he's trying to pound the sand to get the sand out of the bottle. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen that or done that? It's like you've got a bottle and it's full of sand and you're trying to pound on it to get the sand out. And he's got a stick and he's putting the stick in the bottle to try to get the sand out.
It's like a brick.
That's what it's like sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like that.
Well, that's an amazing description because I've never actually seen that, but I can imagine that very well. Yeah,
it's a thing that parents do, keep their kids busy on the beach when they don't want to watch them so closely and they want to keep them busy so they don't go running around. You give them a bottle full of wet sand and say, hey, get the sand out of there.
That's amazing. Huh. Yeah. But yeah, I think that I think, like you said, nice ideas can sort of just seep in or seep out or just creep in, or other times they come all of a sudden. You're just not doing anything that seems related. And that's the wildest thing to me is when they do that, when they just, you figure out something, just a solution comes to your mind in an instant. And it's like, how did that happen? Where did that come from?
Exactly.
I wasn't thinking about that book, but like you say, I don't know a lot about the subconscious and all those the levels of the mind and everything, but I do think that that you're right. That makes sense. That maybe even if it doesn't seem like you were working on something, you were working on it at some level of your mind, and maybe that can explain those sudden bursts of inspiration that come here and there.
For sure. 100%.
I would recommend setting a deadline, like a 7:05 p.m. showtime. if you don't get something done, it doesn't get done. I definitely recommend a hard deadline because I'm telling you, it does something for productivity. Like even in those moments of writer's block, you're like, oh crap. Ask you guys don't talk to my wife, obviously, but I'm like pacing around. It's like 20 minutes to showtime. I'm like, yeah, I don't smoke, but if I was a smoker, I'd be chain smoking, freaking out. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's a thing. But for some reason, somehow, some way, it always comes together. And like you said, we're always working on this creativity, but how does it manifest? And how can you control it? I think we can. I think eventually we're going to be able to tune into the muses themselves, whatever that means to you. If it's you believe that the Greek goddesses are real, or if they're actually just sort of a human frequency that our mind can sort of really kind of attune to the wavelength of. Fire stuff. Got about a couple minutes left before we take the break here. What else do you gentlemen got? Go ahead.
Well, I'm actually all out, and I want to give Herschel all the time that you can have tonight. So I'm going to head out. Thank you, and congratulations again, Herschel.
Thanks, James.
You're the best. You know him, you love him. James Salcedo, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Go check out his book too. While we're doing it, Herschel's night tonight. Congratulations on the book release. And James Salcedo, go check that out. TroubledMinds.org/friends. And Herschel's down there as well. Yeah, a lot of ideas here, a lot of things flowing, and it's I don't know, it's wild. Got a minute left. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
Well, why don't I set up the story I'm gonna read when we come back?
Sure.
It's called How Would You Tell the Story of the Boy and the Bird? Goes right along with what your question is for tonight. How many truly original stories are there? I wrote this in between. This is from March. It's not part of Flash Fiction February. Here's a little intro, and then when we come back, I'll read it. Are there only so many stories that are all described differently? How many completely original stories do you think there are? I swear I've heard the same stories told a million different ways, and I'm sure I have told stories that are derivative. I told this story audibly without writing it. I must be getting better with that because it only took a light edit of the transcript to make it readable. Now we'll read that after the break.
There you go. And it is another fascinating thing. Who was it? Was it Edgar Allan Poe? One of those guys actually boiled it down to there's only 6 different types of stories or something like that. I don't know exactly what that is. Sorry, go ahead.
I just said, I want to know more about that.
Okay, I'll look it up during the break, and we'll come back and hear your story and talk about it. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight. The Muses Hour, I'm calling this, an alchemy of early inspiration. Is it possible to schedule a time with the Muses themselves for maximum creation and productivity? Or not at all? Yeah, a lot of ways to consider this. Love to hear your thoughts. We're taking your calls. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Be right back. More on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Symbols, whispers, and shadows. Maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows. Guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth. Nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines. Through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore. Guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth. Nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise. Our eyes sharp against the everlights. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten well. Where the myths collide with hidden lore, our fates are tied. Signals bouncing off the astral plane. Invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil. A stain and silken sweat midnight hail. In the echoes of time, where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play.
With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth. We seek the truth.
Hello. Good evening. I'm Mike. This is Troubled Minds. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Who did I miss? Daryl. We got MJ. What's up, Jeff and Wisco? Don Squiggs. We got James Sweets. Two Joeys. Gaston, Jorge, Apoc, Ricky, Joe in Florida. What's up, Matsal? I see you guys. Who is that? CK at the bottom there. How you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us. That's just Discord. What is up? We got the Robert over on Rockfin holding it down. Thank you, my man. The Robert knows something about inspiration. What's going on, my man? We got Taxi Graveyard and PhD Nick over there on Kick. How you guys doing? Good evening. If I missed you, sorry about that. We got Lily in Australia, Mr. Mission Control. What's up, James? Great call. Thank you. What's up, Janice here? Good evening. What's happening, folks? Hello. Let's see. Scroll up, Derek the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? How are you? We got NY Debs. Good evening. Good evening. Celia's here. How you doing? Hello. Scrolling up. I missed a lot of people. Sorry about that. Let's see. Who did I miss? Yeah, Ari the Cat is here. How you doing? What's going on? Hello. All the scrolls all the way up. Good evening. Eli's here. What's up, Fred? How you doing? First and second, as per usual, you guys are the best. Very consistent gentlemen. Let's see. Who do we got over to Rumble? What's up? Puff is here. What's up, Gordo? We got Raz. What's up, Hiker? I see you guys. Yeah, the book cover's pretty sweet. Like I said, if you guys have been, Herschel, he calls in from time to time and reads us a story. It's on point with not just what we're talking about typically, but also is well tuned into the frequency. I don't know. Like, how do you describe that frequency, that creative frequency? It's an interesting thing. What's up, Jessica Maximus, I believe that is, over there on Rumble. I see you, or sorry, on Discord. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well tonight. Just hanging out, doing what we do. We'll be back with Herschel in just 30 seconds here. But basically, where do ideas come from? And are they limited? Are they finite? Or is there just some sort of block? And what do the muses play in this process? The old, the ancient idea of the muses themselves. It's always fascinated the hell out of me, because how do you quantify it? Ideas, where do they come from? And of course, why do they seem limited when they may not be? Here we go. Troubled Minds happening, right? Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight we're here with Herschel Sterling talking about his flash fiction process, the creative process, and his new book that just released. And, of course, it gets me thinking about a lot of things, specifically about those ideas, those dastardly ideas that you really kind of can't shake out if they don't want to be shaken out. You get it? What is writer's block, and how come sometimes you're just in that flow state and can just smash creatively, and other times you're, well, smashing your head against the keyboard? I don't know. I don't understand it, though. I maybe have cracked the code. Write yourself hard deadlines. Get up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, like Herschel does, and commit to doing this story every single day for a month. And maybe, just maybe, you're tuning your brain into the frequency of the muses themselves. So welcome back, Herschel. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient and being part of this, and looking forward to the story. You got anything to add to that before we jump right into your story? What's up, brother? How are you?
Yes. I got one more thing to add. So I'm going to be watching the chat. After the story, I'm going to be watching the chat. And if anybody can tell me what is the evil twin of good fiction, it's not bad fiction. I mean, that's not helpful, but it's not the evil twin. You can say in one word, what is the evil twin? After the story's over, don't do it before. It's not going to count because I'm not going to be watching the chat in Discord. So the Rumble people are out of this one. Sorry, it's not my fault.
I can keep an eye on the Rumble chat for you, so we can do two things at once.
So Mike knows the word. What's the evil twin of good fiction? There's an evil twin. All right. So after the story's over, we'll start watching the chat. So let's read. How would you tell the story of the boy and the bird? How many original stories are there? How do you describe the boy and the bird? There was a boy, and he was on his way to school. He said goodbye to his mom. He had his lunch bag and everything, and his little jacket and all the stuff for school ready to go. He's on his way to school, and there's a bird. And how do you describe the boy leaving for school with his mom on the porch handing him his lunch bag? How do you describe that? How do you describe the bird that's perched on the branch that the boy walks past? The boy walks down the street, and he's only a few blocks away from school, and he's going to walk all the way to school. He turns the corner on his street, and down at the other end of the street, and there on that fence post is that bird. How do you describe that bird and the way that bird is looking at the boy with one eye, with his head tilted down? How do you describe the story of the boy and the bird? How do you describe the way that dog follows the boy on the other side of the fence as he walks past the house, speaking to him? How do you describe the look on the boy's face when he says to the big friendly dog, "I'll see you after school"? How do you describe that? Then how do you describe as the boy walks past the driveway of the house where the big friendly dog is, and there's that bird perched up on top of the basketball rim that is attached to the garage? How do you describe that's the third time that the boy has seen that same bird on the way to school? And then the boy gets to the busy street, and there's the crossing guard, a friendly crossing guard. He sees him every day. He doesn't even know his name. He just calls him sir. As the crossing guard comes across the street, he tells the boy to have a good day at school, and the boy continues. He crosses the street to the side of the street where the school is, and he does. He turns left, and he sees that bird flying and flapping and landing on the stop sign on the corner of the next block. How do you describe that? How do you describe when the boy walks into school and he's just barely on time? He's maybe just barely in his seat before the bell rings, and he sits down, and he's got his homework out, and he's ready to start the day, and he looks over at the windowsill, out the window, and there's that bird. How do you describe that situation of the boy scuffling at the last minute to get to class on time? He finally settles into class. He's lucky that the teacher isn't in a hurry because he's not really noticing that the boy is almost late. 5 minutes later, the kids are sitting there. The boy looks up out the window, and there's that bird sitting on the windowsill with his little head cocked back looking at him with one eye. How do you describe that? The boy looks at the bird, and he's kind of focused on the bird for a minute, thinking about his bird, this bird. Then the teacher finally comes to the front of the class and starts talking, and the boy completely focuses on the teacher. How do you describe that he has lost his focus on the bird and has put his attention on the teacher? Then how do you describe how the bird flies off the windowsill and goes and sits in a tree while the boy listens to the teacher? How do you describe that? How do you describe that it's recess and the boy has a great friend that he loves to eat lunch with? They take lunch outside when they have recess. They sit down, and these two boys eat lunch together every single day because they both love bologna sandwiches. They like to sit down to eat their bologna sandwiches and talk about how good their bologna sandwiches are. Sometimes they trade half of their sandwich back and forth to experience the way their moms prepare their bologna sandwiches just a little bit differently. And how do you describe that entire time that those boys are sitting on the ledge of the play lot? How do you describe that situation of this bird who is so obsessed with this boy? How do you describe it? Then it's near the end of the day, and it's time to go. And the boy looks out the window, and he's waiting for the bell to ring. He's looking out the window, and he's looking at the clock, and he's looking at the bell speaker, and he's looking at the clock, and he looks out the window, and he looks at the clock, and he looks out the window, and there's that bird hovering. How do you describe that? How do you describe that anxiousness at the end of the school day? How do you describe the story of the boy? Or how the boy walks up past the hedge, and there's that bird sitting on the hedge, poking his head out, waiting for the boy to come past. How do you describe that? How do you describe that it's such a beautiful day for this boy? All day long, the sky was blue. In the morning, the sky was blue. At lunch, and the sky is blue after school. And it's an early kind of spring day. How do you describe the story of the boy and the bird? And how do you describe how that little bird was following that boy all over school is now sitting on the windowsill of the house, looking in that window watching the little boy and his mother care for a little egg. How do you describe that? How do you describe what that bird knows? How do you describe that? The end. 1,068 words written in about 45 minutes.
I love it. I love it. Treelin in the chat says spirit guide. I love that. What's up, Treelin? Yeah, and Jen also wants to know what do we get if we guess the opposite of.
Get a free book.
You get a free book. There it is. You get a free book. That's what she was asking.
That's all I got.
Okay.
I'm singing for my supper, you guys. This is all I got. This is all I got. I'm singing for my supper. I live in a trailer, man.
Right on, right on. Okay, there you go. So what is the question one more time? So after that, fantastic stuff. And this is how creativity comes. And I'll tell you about the different distilled stories in a moment here as we continue this conversation. We are taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation, guys. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Hop on in here and come say hi. Come meet Herschel. Come hang out with me and all the rest of these amazing folks that are out there in the
Night
chat.
Stalker. Night Stalker wins. Night Stalker wins. He got it.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
You got it. You got it, Night Stalker.
You got it. You got it. There it is. I'll read it right now. Evil twin of good fiction. One word, propaganda. Propaganda. That was it. And not only that, I can give you the timestamp and the actual the Herschel telling me this before the show tonight. So we're not making this up and rigging the game, but Derek lit it on fire right there. That's exactly true. The opposite of the evil twin of good fiction, of course, is propaganda, which is, as you know, a bugaboo of mine. I can't stand it. Propaganda to me drives me
as well.
nuts.
There's a lot of there's a lot of stories about propaganda in this book. There's a lot of stories about propagandists in this book.
Exactly right.
It's on my mind a lot.
Exactly right. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Congratulations to the Night Stalker. Well, boom. We'll get you the details for that book. Okay. And so here's the thing. So I was talking about this before we took the break there. Fantastic stuff. Herschel, thank you for reading that story. But here's the thing. So the idea this is from Claude. So the idea has several prominent variations, but the most well-known is Christopher Booker's The 7 Basic Plots, published in 2004 after 34 years of research. However, the concept of fundamental story patterns predates this. An earlier and highly influential version came from George Pulte, who in 1895 identified 36 dramatic situations that he claimed could describe every dramatic or literary situation possible. Okay, there we go. Back to the archetype of a story, right? And even more fundamental is Ronald Tobias's 20 master plots and Kurt Vonnegut's 8 basic story shapes. Kurt Vonnegut, good stuff. But perhaps this is talking to me because I asked it the question, kind of an open-ended question. Perhaps you're thinking of the famously concise version proposed by John Gardner in the 1970s, that there are only 6 fundamental emotional arcs in storytelling. Here they are. I'm going to read them to you. Get your take on that. We are taking your calls if you guys want to be part of this discussion. We're talking inspiration tonight. We're celebrating Herschel's book that he just released. And please go buy Herschel's book for as low as $11.65. Do your best used car salesman from hell. How do you the quick 30-second pitch, and then I'll get back to this. I'm going to read you these six actual fundamental emotional arcs in storytelling.
You want me to pitch my book?
You don't have to.
Is that what you're asking me to do, though?
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
go ahead.
I wrote a book. Like, you should get one. You should go look at the cover and read all the topics, and then put a topic in the chat, and I'll read a story about it.
There you go. And I'll drop the link back in the chat in just a moment here. Okay. So here's the thing. So 6 fundamental emotional arcs in storytelling. Number 1, rise or rags to riches. Number 2, fall or riches to rags. Number 3, fall then rise, or known as man in a hole. Number 4, Icarus, rise then fall. Number 5, Cinderella, rise then fall then rise. And number 6, Oedipus, fall then rise then fall. Seems like voodoo to me, but what do I know? But the one I'm thinking of, I couldn't find. I don't know if it was Edgar Allan Poe or something, but I'm going to still look because it's going to drive me nuts. It's going to be that splinter in my mind. But I don't know. Your take on that? We got a call. We'll get to Jessica. I see you there in the chat. Go ahead, Herschel. What's your take on that?
Well, let's go to the book and let's look at one of the essays I wrote. Let me find it. And because it's somewhat similar to what you just read. I got to find what page it's on. I got to go to the table of contents.
That's okay.
It's such a long table of contents, you guys. There's 85 stories plus 3 essays. And I don't know if you know this, but Michael Strange wrote the foreword for this book. I don't know if you realize that or not, but it's worth buying just for that.
There you go. That's celebrity status.
Yeah, but let me find that. Where is it, man?
I got you. If you want to take a minute to actually find that and take it out.
Go.
Okay, so a little bit more on this, which is fascinating as hell to me. So back to the idea of the 20 master plots. This again, John Gardner from the 70s. So the idea was actually tested in 2016 by researchers at the University of Vermont, who used computer analysis to study over 1,700 English novels. Dirty English. They found that most stories did indeed follow one of these 6 basic emotional trajectories. What's fascinating is that despite these limited basic patterns, humans have managed to tell millions of unique and compelling stories throughout history, which is the wild part, right? Because how do you do this given, again, we're talking archetypes of storytelling where, Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, this type of stuff. I don't know. I feel like they left out the hero's journey. They got Oedipus in there a little bit, but I think things are, I guess you can, link number 2, Rags to Riches, into Cinderella or something. I don't know. Or vice versa, and kind of tell the story in the longer sense. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking inspiration tonight. Where do ideas come from? Are they finite? Are they infinite? Is it possible to schedule a time with the muses themselves? Because as you know, we've been talking about Herschel in his book. He just released this. Congratulations to Herschel. You guys should definitely buy this book. And he was challenging himself to go for 30 days and wake up first thing in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m. And before he did nearly anything else, finish a story. And he did this for 30 days. He did it twice during the course of this past year, which mostly turned into this book and some other stuff that he's added as well. But fire stuff. Again, I'll drop the link in the description. Again, for as low as $11.65, this book can be yours tonight. Derek the Night Stalker has one for free. Congratulations on guessing the propaganda. And what do you got, Herschel? We got a couple calls to get to as well, but go right ahead on finding your thing. Hopefully you found it.
Yeah, so we're talking about formula. So it's not like a typical story. It's more prompt driven and it's less premise driven. So most regular stories have beginnings, middles, and endings. And flash fiction is different than that. It's more like 2 parts. It's either a beginning and then combine the middle and the ending, or the beginning and the middle are integrated and then force an ending. And I'm not sure if there's a purposeful decision. If my mind is more chaotic, it's usually the latter. Those are more fun, and those endings are often more interesting, and they surprise me. Okay, so it's a 2-part formula. Think of like a joke, like a comedian builds up a joke and he tells a story, and then it's a punchline. It's not like a beginning and a beginning and an end. So you've got a mystery and a reveal. That's one kind, some kind of a mystery. One is a problem and then a solution. Sometimes it's a conflict and a resolution. Sometimes it's an obstacle and then or removal of the obstacle or overcoming the obstacle. Sometimes it's an enemy and a victory. And sometimes it's like a joke, like there's a build-up and a punchline. So here's another thing I'll read before we take the calls. I can't wait to get to the calls. I just want to read this. So when I learned, here's what happened. I learned, don't be cheap and don't be lazy. Write a real ending. Don't end your story with a cheap, traumatic, otherworldly ending, or a monster or an alien kills everyone, or there's a car accident and everyone dies. Actually reveal something. Go ahead and be clever and articulate. Write as much as you need to make that happen. Write a conflict. Don't show a traumatic event. That is cheap, cheap, cheap. If you can accomplish this in a very short story, that is actually writing something, in my opinion. When I'm watching a movie and they show a car being T-boned at an intersection to set up a conflict, that is the end of the movie for me. That's cheap. Those things happen in real life, but so what? Write something. All right. Who's the caller?
Fire stuff. Let's do it. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight talking the Muses Hour and Alchemy of Early Inspiration. What do you guys know about it? Let's go to Jessica Maximus on the Discord. How you doing? Welcome to the joint. Go right ahead. You're on Troubled Minds.
Evening, Michael. Evening, Herschel. Rest of the audience. How's everyone doing? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
Sound great.
Okay, super. This is not actually the real Jessica's Maximus. This is my wife's phone. I'm actually Joey, the other Joey. So I'm going to exit out right there. You see me dropped out of the audience. You know that's actually me. My phone is doing some crazy stuff and I have no data. So I asked my wife to beg and borrow her phone enough to listen to the show tonight. And the only reason I decided to call her because she was walking out just as she handed me her phone, and I was trying to switch phones, and she heard Herschel's question, and she immediately said, "It's a lie," and then she walked out. So she answered that right on the spot with propaganda. Yeah, I mean, that's not the verbatim answer, but she just said, it's a lie. That's the answer, and then she left me.
Fantastic.
You got to keep her, man.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Oh, yeah, she's wonderful.
Absolutely. Go ahead. What you got? What you got? Go ahead, sir.
I thought that was a great question. That was really cool that she thought that on the spot. I might have got there, but I was sitting there thinking on it, and she just popped it right out of my head. So I was really happy that she did that and then left. It was like a mic drop. But I also like what Herschel just said a moment ago, and I fully agree. So I have noticed for years, looking at different media, like writings and movies, and in the West, we have a real hang up with that now because we make things and we do exactly what they said. Make some kind of additional problem after the problems have all been solved. There's no resolve because potentially we may want to make some more of these, and we don't know how far this will go. But if we deadhead everything, we tell a real story. If we really write something, if we do something and have some kind of closure, well, then people have to ultimately feel something too. You can't leave them in suspense. You can't drag it on. You can't make more money down the road. And in the East, however, it seems like the storytelling has always been very much to that liking. They really like to see something play out and then have some final. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If it's a sad story, it doesn't matter. I gotta know. Did they make it out of this, or are they done for? So I thought that was pretty poignant. That's really the only remark. I mean, I could probably go on, but that's the first things that popped in my head. I hadn't been thinking about the topic. I was really just listening to what Herschel was saying. It was a really good set, though.
Fire stuff. Go ahead, Herschel.
Yeah, I agree that a good story needs an ending, and you can write a story that has a sequel when the first story ends. Like if you can't do that, you shouldn't make a sequel. It's not really a sequel then. You know what I mean? Like, right. Yeah.
Like in life, I have a friend that I have these debates on the changes that we've gone through in life because we've grown up together. We're the same age, and we've lived two different lives, but we're growing into the manhood that we've each accepted, or the different paths have taken us on, what have you. But we're trying to figure it out together. So we try to lean on each other a little bit. And I tell them often that I've changed many times in my life, and I've become different people, I feel. And sometimes I didn't recognize myself, and sometimes I can't look back on the past people and really know, exactly what drove them because I've already gotten over all those hurdles. I've moved on to the next, chapter of my life. And physically, I'm still the same person. Yeah, but in my headspace, I feel like I've lived about 15 different lifetimes in this lifetime because I've dropped things and then just picked up a whole new life. And he really can't understand that. So he tells me very, very strongly that you haven't changed at all. You're still the same person because I've known you since the beginning. I said, well, yes, but you are a privileged person that has, this one part of me that was pure enough that I've even held on to it through all the changes. And every time that we're together, nothing's changed for us. So it's the only thing that we have that's pure of ourselves that we got to hang on to. The rest of it, though, we've, done a lot of things that go against the grain of who those people were. It's just that when we get back together, we get to kind of morph back into that person for a moment, maybe it's, you know, some kind of nostalgic feeling, but it really doesn't. It really feels like when we're together, we get to, we are the same children that we were.
Well said. Well said. I love that. It does. I mean, the phases of life, right? That's a whole thing for probably a whole show or series of shows. But yeah,
not to cut it off. But I did make one point. Sorry, Michael. I am sorry, because the whole point I said that to answer what Herschel was saying was because I feel like I've changed. My story ended. I had a whole finish. Everything was taken care of. My business has always been taken care of before I've walked away. But and I don't want to get into a whole backstory. I've had so many different times in my life where I've literally said, this business is all finished and I'm leaving. I've had marriages end like that, businesses end like that. It's really no problem for me to start over again when I've been put in certain circumstances, because I have started literally from zero all the way from the beginning. So I've never been afraid to do that. My buddy, on the other hand, holds his strong opinion because he's only ever carried on the same story, and he wants the story to continue, and he's hoping that it has a good ending, but he's always looking towards that future ending that might be there, so the chaos of life gets down on him in a different way. The chaos of life doesn't get down on me at all because it's all chaotic, so it makes it a little more fun when fun things happen. You know, when bad things happen, it's just circumstance of every single day life because of the life that I've lived, you know, so we have a different standpoint. But that's what I was saying about her. Like, yeah, if I wrote that down, same thing. And I've written many things, and so I totally agree with what you just said. And I actually really appreciate you saying it, because a lot of writers, especially nowadays, they don't. They try to do exactly what we're talking about. Just
very cheap.
Getting worse. Not telling a real story. You're not doing anything. There's no substance to it at all.
Yeah, and people go into some place like some studio or some situation where they have this really nice story, a really cool movie, and then the people take it and they turn it into just like really dumb, simple.
That too, and then your integrity perpetuate what you're trying to do.
Joey, you're getting muffled. Joey, you're muffled. Music's playing. We're out of time. I'm going to drop you down. If you got more to add, we'll bump you back up, okay? Appreciate it very much. Thanks for the call.
Have a great night.
Fire stuff.
Good
Appreciate
call,
it very
man.
much.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're here talking the Muses Hour. Our idea is infinite. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Thanks for the call, Joey.
In the shadow, they're out there in the sky, invisible lines, a secret fleet they say, hidden in plain sight. It's a cloak and dagger play, under spectral lights, fiction or real life. I've lost the fight, saw their shadows cast on my bedroom wall. Ghostly whispers faint, answering no call. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. The streets are silent now, the truth's veiled in mist. Looking to the stars above, wondering what I've missed. Echoes in the night, silhouettes out of sight. Their eyes are watching closed, unseen by the day, hiding in the dark, where shadows play. Government secrets whispered, never to be told. Underneath the cover of night, is there truth to behold? I hear the hum, the sound I can't explain. Disappearing lights, driving me insane. Muffled footfalls echo, through empty streets we roam, searching for the clues that lead us home. Paranoid delusions grip our fragile minds. Reality bends and blurs in this space and time. Is it all in my mind,
Or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. Static on the radio, the static hums the tale. In basements and attics, secrets sift like mail. Eyes behind the blinds, knives behind the backs. Conspiracy we ride on paranoid tracks. Is it all in my mind? Or am I insane?
Indeed. Fire call, Joey. I see your hand up. We'll get back to you in just a second here. Thank you for being patient with the timing and whatnot. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight. I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for jacking your wife's phone to listen to the show. That's dedication. I'd get a hammer in my head is what I'd get. That's so funny. What's up? We'll get back to Joey in a sec. We got Derek the Nice Talker. MJ's got his hand up. We got the Robert on the phone line. We're all booked up here. Got some people to talk to. Talking inspiration tonight. What about ideas? What about inspiration? And is it finite? Is it infinite? Are these archetypes of stories really? Well, are we stuck? I don't know. I think the Troubled Minds sort of gang here is maybe turn this on its head a little bit, just because we can see things differently. And that's a good thing. Seeing storytelling differently, seeing maybe the world differently. Yeah. The Robert says, I'm fascinated. Use the link to Herschel's book, but confused about how to buy it. Oh, there you go. There's some good feedback. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds radio network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting and 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're here with Herschel Sterling, celebrating the release of his new book and talking about inspiration. He did something called Flash Fiction February to begin this, and did this a couple times throughout the year, where he woke up and challenged himself immediately to write a story before the rest of his day progressed. Now, it brought to mind many ideas here for me, because I'm a weirdo and that's what I do. But I was thinking about maybe tapping into your dreams in some capacity to sort of bring that dream realm into the story space before your mind had really the chance to wake up. So there's another angle here as part of this. But is it possible, the main question tonight, is it possible to schedule a time with the muses that is optimal? And I'm not so sure there's an answer to that other than, well, yeah, let's talk to Herschel. Let's get right back to Herschel. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. You are back on Troubled Minds, unmuted. Go right ahead. Your thought on that, and we'll get some calls here.
The answer is sometimes, and sometimes you have to force it. That's my experience. And to Robert, go to ycr.info, and that's the easiest one to get a book at. The other one is more, I'm still working on that website, but just go to ycr.info if you're having trouble figuring out the other one, because it's Bitcoin and it's Stripe, and I'm not using Amazon. I'm selling this myself.
I think the one forwards to the other. I don't see the two differences, just FYI. So maybe we got to.
Oh, okay. That could be. It could be forwarding. Could be forwarding.
It does forward over.
All right, then just go to, if you're going to the confusing site, look at the link that says excerpts and just click that link and you'll go to the site where it's easy to buy.
Okay.
Now, I want to answer Sora's question, because Sora asked if I used a pen or a typewriter or whatever.
Sure.
When I'm writing flash fiction, I just use my keyboard, but when I'm writing like something that I'm thinking about, that I'm really thinking about in a predetermined way, then I write with a pen, and I use different colors of pen. Okay, so there's the answer to that.
I like it. Inspiration. Here we go. Strap in, and we got lots of calls coming. If you want to be part of the conversation tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Going to go back to Joey here. Let him finish his thought there, and then we'll go to, looks like it was Derek, the Roberts, MJ, and then Jorge. So hang tight, guys. We'll try and blow through these calls and get all you guys back on here. Thanks again for being patient with each other. Joey, you're on, wait, did I? No, I didn't hit it. There it is. Okay, there we go. You should be good to go. Welcome back. Final thought here on this. What do you got for Herschel? And welcome back to the thing. Thanks for having the gumption to jack your wife's phone to listen to the show and call us. I appreciate that very much. That tickles me. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. You said I was coming in fuzzy. Am I good now?
No, you were totally good the entire time. Just when the music plays, when you're talking, sometimes it kind of fuzzes you out. So that's why I just wanted to let you know we couldn't hear what you were saying. But go ahead.
Final thought here. So on where we get inspiration, to me, it's really a context thing. Like, you can get inspiration. We're talking about writing. So art forms are one type of thing that we have to seek some kind of something that inspires us to make some kind of great art that people appreciate, because art's a projection of self, but other people resonate with it because we all feel the same stuff. So that's one kind of thing that we need a muse for, but we also derive inspiration that we utilize in a lot of parts of our personality, like me as a man, or somebody as a woman, or whatever somebody identifies as. Like, you draw that from some source that really showed you that that's what it means to be that thing, and then you try to uphold the value that you placed on that. The person that inspired you might not have understood that at all. They just were who they were, but you saw them resolutely as this, and then titled yourself as such. Like, the first time I came on your show, the things that you said to me, certain people throughout my life, when I've chosen to put myself out there, or share my art, or share my writing, or whatever I do, which is seldom, have told me along the way, like, you need to do this, or you need to do something, you need to put yourself out there, you need to be seen, because they see it. And I don't want to be seen, so I don't do that. I just share with the people I think would appreciate it enough to maybe give me that answer. But that's not what I'm looking for. I just want somebody to share this with, because like everybody else that creates something, they want to share and be seen in that way, without expressing to people verbally or emotionally that this is what's inside of me. They just want to be seen, where somebody sees their art and goes, man, I fully understand. Like, you put my thoughts or my experiences into motion, or visual, or music. So when I called into your show, having been the first time I decided to go online and actually do anything like this, or join a radio or what have you, the things that you said culminated with the messages I've had with you recently, and a couple buddies that I've joined up with to create something of our own and share our art. So you've inspired me in a certain way. Not that, it's shoot for the stars kind of thing, but just the fact that somebody would say, man, like, where did you come from? Like, where have you been? You got a show, you got a thing, you're like, what are you doing? I haven't heard of you, is what you were saying. I haven't seen you before. You're out of left field. Where'd this ball come from? I didn't know it was in play. And that was the undertone that I took from it, but it made me feel like, well, you know what, maybe I should do something.
Hell
and
yeah.
A buddy of mine that I joined up with said, I want to make animations of one of your rants, or like the characters you come up with, or just the stuff you say. And I was like, yeah, I'm down for that. But then I expounded on that with the idea we're actually working towards. So there you have it.
Hell yeah, appreciate that. Yes, you should be building something. You should be creating something. It is part of being human. It is an outlet. It is something that inspires others. And yes, absolutely, 100%. Appreciate the call, brother. Thanks again for swapping the wife's phone there. Like I said, tickled for that. You're the best. I talked to you in a smidge some other time. I appreciate the call. I'm going to drop you down. We got tons of calls to get to. You're the best. Want to answer him there, Hirsch, on any of that stuff, and then we'll take some more of these calls.
Well, just on the thing of when he first called in, he was talking about like a story having an ending. Like, I made an attempt to write a novel a while ago, and I didn't know what I was doing. It's a terrible book, but I do want to rework it. But it was like 35 chapters, and almost every chapter, the bulk of the book was a story in and of itself. So every single chapter could be read and you would understand what the purpose of that chapter was. But it also, at the same time, the story had an arc. So what that is a serial. It's not a novel. So I learned that during that process.
Nice.
So what I have is a serial of 37 episodes. That's what I have. So I want to rework it in that way.
Sweet.
But that just to kind of go back on the boy and the bird, and the little boy got home and he was taking care of a little egg. And the bird felt like, gee, if they're going to look after my egg that they found that fell out of the nest, I'm going to look after this little boy. See, that's the ending. That was a surprise ending. I don't know where it came from.
It's nature talking to you. It's nature talking to all the
That's right.
fire stuff. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight, just talking about inspiration, talking about all manner of wild things. Are ideas finite or infinite or somewhere in between? And can you schedule a time that is optimal for the muses themselves? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Derek the Nice Talker. What's up, brother? How you doing? Go right ahead. Hello.
Come on, you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. You sound great.
Good people. Great show. Thank you for the book. Good question. Cool stuff so far. I got a few ideas. I'll try to be quick because there's a lot of calls and everything. But you guys talking about like the giving yourself a deadline. I think that's huge. Like Saturday Night Live has that kind of weird pressure where they got to perform a live show every week, so they have to just get it out. You know, they have a clear schedule. Every Tuesday we got to have this written. Then Wednesday we're building the sets. Thursday we're rehearsing, yada yada. It needs to get done. And then like South Park, which I think is arguably the most genius, like hitting the riding the zeitgeist better than anyone I've seen. They have 6 days to air, and it's 2 people and their team of animators and stuff, but 2 people like thinking of it all, putting it all together, and getting it from nothing to what we're watching on screen every week, which is just bonkers for an animated show and stuff. So that kind of deadline, I think, is rewarding and stuff. It's frustrating, I think, for the creators because you feel like you're never giving your perfected work. You feel like what people are seeing is always kind of imperfect, and you wish you had more time on it. But I think the fruits of that is cool. You were talking about like the never ending, like the serialized storytelling kind of stories that kind of have no end, or like where do ideas come from? What is ideas? There's like kind of the idea that there's like, it's like I don't really resonate with the idea that the thought that ideas are kind of like a resource. Like there's like, and we've reached like peak idea, like peak oil, you know, that there's a finite amount and we have to go and look for it and mine it and stuff. I think it's more like the creative process. I said this in the chat earlier, but the creative process or putting in the effort is like casting a sail for like the idea wins, or like throwing out a net to catch some idea fish or whatever. Or it could be like an idea weather, which is like could be writer's block and stuff. But it's like surfing, where the waves might not be bumping that day, but you won't catch any waves if you don't get in the water, you know. And the process of like sitting down every day. And I'm saying this all from somebody who does not do any of this. I feel like I have a lot of ideas, and personally, I get nervous that when I like that one day just the faucet's going to turn off because I'm not using the ideas that I'm being given and stuff. So I am envious, and I love people that do what you did, Herschel, with the idea with the flash fiction and stuff. And I had a friend in college who wanted to write movies and did a 1-page movie script every single day. And by the end of it, he was awesome at writing, really good. I'm rambling. I got a couple more ideas. What do you guys think? I don't want to
go ahead, Herschel. What you got?
Be rambling.
Yeah, no, keep going.
So our idea is limited. Like, what prevents people from getting ideas? Maybe it's like the human being or the human receiver of these ideas, the human perception of reality and stuff is kind of like a type of sail to catch the winds, or a type of net to catch the fish. And maybe a more advanced sail will be created one day, or we're a more advanced sail than a previous version of human or something like that. So with the ability to catch wind, like we just don't know what that looks like. So we don't know this super sail that can catch winds. Like we won't even feel winds, but you put the sail up and all of a sudden you're sailing and stuff. Or I don't know, just maybe, and I don't want to say that's AI per se, but some kind of other means. It could be magic, it could be anything. Like I think that celebrities and stuff, people who need to manifest these ideas and like access the muses on a daily basis, do get into the kind of magic-y, protocol-y type stuff, or even like baseball players and that type of stuff, like superstitions and little rituals and things are you want to be able to access this ethereal mojo that allows you to do what you do, you know? And I wonder if like the 7 basic stories ideas is kind of like the idea of like Plato's forms, or Plato's like Platonic solids, and that in this realm there's like the three-dimensional plane, we can only kind of, everything is made up of a perfect sphere, a perfect rectangle, a perfect cube, perfect pyramid, and that's kind of what everything kind of breaks down to. So I wonder if just from our type of sale, our type of idea receiver, the reality that we're walking around in, if these 7 ideas or these 6 story ideas, 20 ideas, or whatever theory is kind of the platonic story forms that we kind of shape the information to kind of walk around life with. And just like, what if, and also like, sometimes, what if people are like chosen to just kind of receive, or like vessels to receive one specific idea, or like a type of idea? Like Frank Herbert was just like born to tell Dune, or George R.R. Martin was just like born to tell Game of Thrones, and he was just, or Song of Ice and Fire, and he was just absorbed in it and created whole books about just like the politics and the histories, and just like not even storybooks, just like textual books, because he just kind of sees this world. And real quick, basically all I got, but just I was listening to a movie podcast called like Blank Check, with like one like small actor and then a writer, and he was talking about his friend who is kind of like always writing this mythology, like doing this world building kind of in his head, and maybe like, and he might write it out or whatever to himself, but it isn't in like a clear narrative. It just exists in this person's head, in this person's head, and it's unbelievably rich. It's unbelievably well thought out, and he's been doing it essentially since he was like a 5-year-old kid, and now he's like 45 or whatever. And like once a year, he'll invite like all of his friends come over, and he'll just chain smoke cigarettes at like the front of the front of their fireplace, like a bonfire or something like that, and he'll just ask questions, or he'll just take questions, and like the audience will be like, "What about this? What is there a religion here? Is there a city over there? What do they wear for clothing? Or where did that come from?" And he just kind of like chain smokes cigarettes and tries to like give the information out of his head, and that's the only way that the story exists, or this world exists. And it's just in this form. He has no way to kind of get it out in a narrative shape, but it's just like these ideas just exist in his head, kind of this once a year thing. The audience kind of minds the ideas for him, and he explains it in the only way that he can. And I just love the idea that he's just a vessel for this world that doesn't even exist. And we have kind of all these different ways that ideas are conjured, like a flame almost, that the conditions need to just be right, and then the idea will just pop up like a flame. Like you need timber, you need the correct conditions, it can't be too wet, yada yada, and then the idea flame will light up. It's really all I got. Sorry for rambling, but just what do you think?
Yeah, I think the pressure is a real thing. Like, the pressure situations of our species is what has led to big breakouts in civilizations, and big kind of evolutionary breakouts. Language, you can imagine people were panicking and they didn't know how to talk, but all of a sudden somebody started screaming. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, and different things emerged out of our species through intense pressure, through compressed trauma and stress. Ball players, when you're scouting a baseball player, you're not looking for the guy who's hitting like 300 all the time. You're looking for the guy who's hitting 320 when there's runners on base, or runners in scoring position, or when there's 2 strikes. The guy who's good under pressure, that's the guy who's going to make it. The guy who's kind of decent all the time, if it doesn't matter if there's a runner on base or not, it's just like whatever. Like the guy who doesn't want to make the last out in the inning, the guy who doesn't want to strike out, the guy who wants to get the runner, doesn't want to be the guy who doesn't do it. He doesn't want to be the guy who can't do it. That's the guy you want. And so pressure is big, and I think it's big in writing too.
For sure. And there's like different types of kind of idea receivers too, or different types of like why the idea is being born in the first place. Like we have obviously the commerce of ideas, people needing to get ideas to create stories, or to like sell movie scripts, and to sell like songs and that type of thing, that they need to conjure up these ideas and everything. And some people who are better at like kind of more type A personalities, and might be able to like form the kind of structure. So I love the idea of like writers' rooms and these different teams and and it's almost like alchemical. We have a person who might not be necessarily like, I don't have necessarily great time management skills outside of work. Like I procrastinate a lot and everything, but like having a format like this where Mike is just like unbelievably great at crafting a place for this, like a like a place that the bonfire will easily catch or whatever. Like Rick Rubin, the famous producer who did like the Beastie Boys and just everybody, like Jay-Z. He's been the number one producer forever, and he doesn't play instruments really. He doesn't consider himself a musician. He just considers himself like he gets the artists into a state, into an environment where they can access the muses in their own way. And every artist is different. The Chili Peppers are different than Jay-Z, is different than like Lady Gaga, whatever. And they all need a different environment in order to like different type of sale in order to capture the specific gust that they need. And I love that. I feel like you kind of do that, Mike, here for all of us and everything. And I love it. You know, I'm rambling, but just it seems like an alchemical process, and it's really weird. And yeah, the pressure is definitely. And personally, too, I just got the computer and everything, so I'm trying to kind of in my head, and I barely even opened it since I got it, honestly, because of the pressure. So I'm like in my head, kind of. I have years, like a decade's worth of notes on my phone, just different ideas, but now I have to like get them from this. See in my head through some kind of faucet that I have to create in order to get them into a clear narrative form or to get to a first sentence. And it's just like, it's a daunting thing. And I applaud anybody who's able, like you and like James and anybody who's able to, like Robert, like people who were able to manifest the ideas that they have into something that's the role of the shaman, to go to the other side and bring something back that people can make use of. And that's what you guys are doing with the idea space. I feel like I'm just talking on my ass, so I'll leave. But just
you're good, brother.
Good, thank you, show. Yes,
appreciate it very much. Speaking of the Robert, stay tuned. We're going to bring the Robert on right now. You're the best, Derek the Bear Stalker. You know him, you love him. Give him a follow. Links in the description down below. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Follow Derek here. We're backed up with calls, so let's just go straight to the Robert. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Herschel. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for asking. The Night Stalker summoned you, so here you are. What's on your mind? Go ahead, sir. So we're a little late in the hour, so if you want to stay past the break, it's up to you, but go ahead. Got about 5 minutes.
Oh, I'll probably stay past the break. It's all right.
You got it. Go ahead.
That's awesome. Please do.
This show tonight is a bit fascinating for me because you're talking about creativity and where it comes from, and about the Muse and all that stuff. And I know from my own experience that almost every time I've sat down to write a story, I'll start out with a first line, and the next thing I know, then the story comes to me. An example is the story I wrote called Switch, where the opening line was that the woman basically, she's at the coffin and she bends down and kisses herself. All right, that was Lydia. She bent down and kissed herself in the coffin, and I didn't quite know what that was all about, but it stuck with me, and the Muse just moved me to completion of the story. I had no idea where that story was going, but that happens most of the time with me. And I'm thinking about Tesla, all right, and how Tesla was adamant that our creativity, we are light. And he also recounts a dream, a vision he had walking along a beach, and suddenly he had a vision of AC current, a device to create AC current. And he throughout the latter part of his life, he maintained that his brain was a receiver, and he was getting his ideas from the ether, catching them from the light. That everything is really light, and he was getting them from the light.
Fantastic. Hirsch, anything on that?
I believe him.
So do I. So do I. Go ahead, Robert. Well said, Hirsch. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah. I always like to talk to fellow writers. I've been working on it. I've been working on a novel myself. It has I have a weird title already. I've got a few chapters written. It's called Marcos, and it's the half-dead detective.
I dig it.
Well, he's half dead. He's in a coma. All right, but from the astral, he's solving crime.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a very troubled minds novel. I'm into it. I'm totally into it. Fire stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
No doubt.
But it's the first novel I've ever tried to write, and I've got 4 chapters so far, and I got into a little bit of a writer's block, and I have to let my brain relax and see if I can get back in tune with the Muse to find out where it goes from there. Because a lot of times that happens. You get a whole lot of things going, you get a whole lot of words written, and then suddenly you reach a point where you're blocked. You really don't know where to go with it.
Yeah, it is a strange thing. For me, it's happened too. I've got this long story arc that I wanted to write since I was very young, and when I started actually writing it, I recognized that, as I described earlier, I was sort of bereft of life experience to sort of relate to an audience. And so basically that novel that I dreamed of when I was 20 basically has become the collaboration with you guys has become the novel. And I'm incredibly happy to be here and incredibly happy to share this experience with all of you. We're just about out of time, so hang tight, Robert. We're going to get back to you in just a moment. So the question of the night is, are ideas finite? Or is it infinite? So put a pin in that. We'll get back to you momentarily. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight. That's the Robert on the phone line. And we are taking your calls. We got some calls back. I appreciate you guys being interested in the ideas here. But what does it look like? We're talking the Muses Hour, an alchemy of early inspiration, because Herschel Sterling spent 30 days, twice this past year, waking up and instantly trying to crank out a story. Forced himself to do it. Is it possible to actually schedule time with the Muses and crank out creativity unbridled? Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got more with Robert, more with Herschel, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
Troubled mind, the words they cast, heavy shadows from the past. A restless heart, a searching soul, seeking space to become whole. Troubled minds find open sky through every tear and every sigh. We rise, we fall, wings unfurled, more than labels in this world. In crowded streets or empty rooms, our echoes chase away the gloom. A spark of hope, a whispered truth, a shared melody, our fountain of youth. We're more than static on the line, singing louder than the signs. In every chord, we claim our part, beating drums match the heart. Grab the strings, we tune the stars. Punk rock anthems heal the scars. A blended mix of rage and art, painting freedom, that's just the start. Troubled minds take the stage. In every note we break the cage. We rise, we fall, but carry on. Sing our truth until the dawn. In the quiet after the song, echoes of our rights and wrongs. but the music speaks for peace. In the chords we find release. Troubled minds now rest at ease. With every breath we seize release. We stand, we soar into the light. Our anthem roar into the night.
Hello, friends. My name's Mike. This is Troubled Minds. We're just hanging out with our good friends here. We got Herschel and the Robert on the line. Get back to them just momentarily. Thanks for being patient. And again, we're on the radio, so we got to do the radio timing and all the rest of that stuff. Eventually, there'll be full commercials and whatnot. But just, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for carrying. I don't know what happened to the Rumble chat. It broke. It completely just vanished. Rumble crew, I see you. I love you. I'm thinking about you. What's going on? If I missed anybody, what's up, NY Debs? How you doing? Mission Control, light it on fire. What's up with the pencils, Jen? What's going on in the chat? What is going on in the chat? What is happening? If I miss somebody, just say hi. I'll say hi back and do my best to keep up with everybody here. What do we got? Who did I miss? Thank you again for all the amazing calls tonight. And for again, considering the ideas, like I said, personally, the ideas to me are the most important part of this, because in the quickening, remember that if you cannot conceive of it, you cannot build it. And so what we're doing here together is probably more paramount than people give it credit for or would consider giving it credit for, because, in the quickening, what are we going to run out of? Probably ideas, right? Probably ideas to build. And so, let's quicken those ideas and collaborations and whatnot. Shout out to Joey there too. Appreciate the call, and again, Jack and the wife's phone and all the rest of that. But also as part of it, thank you for saying, and also Derek mentioned, the inspiring aspect of the show and sort of the space and all the rest of that. But don't forget that I'm here for the exact same reason. I'm chasing an inspiration trail of other folks that have led me to this moment. Okay. And so that's the point. You have to build something. If you don't build something, it is sort of the handshake of creativity to the next human that recognizes, hey, look, regular humans can do these things. And this is not as voodoo as it seems. Our language, our love language, let's say, for humans entirely is inspiration. And so if we're not creating things, we're not sharing it. And that's how I see it. Here we go. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got more with the Robert, more with Herschel Sterling, and your calls as well. Hold on to your butts. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. All the places, all the things we got calls to get to. Tonight we're talking the Muses Hour, an alchemy of early inspiration. Is it possible to schedule a time with the Muses where maximum creativity does occur? We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight talking about the release of his new book and, of course, his flash fiction strategy when it comes to writing stories. And I don't know, waking up first thing in the morning is almost, as Matt Sal said earlier in the chat, sort of like dream journaling. Isn't that strange? Isn't that a wild idea that if you wake up, maybe you're able to channel what happened in your dreams into a story directly? And how weird is that, and how amazing does it get? I don't really know, because I'm just little old me. And you're little old you, so let's do this together. Back to Herschel, what you got real quick, and we'll go to the Robert. Welcome back. How you doing? Everything still good?
Well, yeah, I think that I want to read a story from a dream now. You've mentioned dreams several times, and I've got one that I haven't read on the show yet, so
perfect.
I should read it eventually.
Okay, tonight. Perfect. Bookmark that, MFer. We'll get back to it. You are the best. Yeah. Do buy Herschel's book. We're talking about inspiration tonight, inspiring each other. Let's help each other. I got the links in the description, and let's get right back to the Robert. Thanks for being patient, gentlemen. The Roberts, you're back on Troubled Minds with Mike and Hirsch. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, I think the truth about life is that we're all supposed to be creators. That's the point of incarnating into this material world, is that we're all creators in some degree. Although there's plenty of people who just get through life and work a dull job, make enough money to pay the rent and take care of the family and stuff like that there, and don't really really have the mind shut down from the ether that doesn't allow the inspiration to come through. Everybody knows people like that. But I don't think there's anybody that's a good writer that doesn't have a direct link to that inspiration in the ether, that doesn't sit down and look at a blank piece of paper and not knowing what to do, and then starting a sentence, and then suddenly the story starts to unfold.
Yeah, well said.
And the dream diary, it's a great thing. We know that when we dream and we wake up, we may remember most of the dream, but within a few minutes, it fades and we can't remember what it was. That's the strangest thing about dreams.
Yeah, exactly right. Just a quick shout out real quick. Hirsch, you're, I don't know what's going on. You're moving around or something. There's like a click, 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 click that keeps happening. So I muted you. So just so you know, whatever you're doing, we're hearing it. So just as an FYI right there. But yeah, I think that's exactly right. You're unmuted now. But so Robert, in the sense of, let's say, scheduling, and it seems like one of the more basic human things. You go to work at 8 a.m. or whatever it is, right? It's like we're built on these schedules specifically and directly. And I think maybe clearly we're chasing sun cycles and moon cycles and all the rest of the stuff. So it's ancient stuff. There's nothing mysterious here. But do you think there is something to scheduling to fine tune your brain for a moment, and then it sort of cycles on itself? Let's say, again, like Herschel was doing with those morning situations, do you think that maybe your brain starts to become tuned into that moment and expecting it, and then is able to dial into a frequency and be more creative than you ever dreamed of? And let's say you did this for years of practice at a particular time. You think that time space kind of ends up being a little more dramatic or a little less, or are we just making things out of not things here? I don't know. As usual, you know me and the ideas.
Yeah, I think there's something to the idea of, as a writer, I'm going to write every morning from 9 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, let's say, and then I'm going back to my life. All right, I think that if that's the plan, and that's what goes on every day, that automatically links you to a frequency. All right, to the inspiration that's in the light. I think that's probably the case. I would think that most really good writers, ones that are really productive, that's exactly what they do. And somebody said, "How do you write?" How do you write? Well, you write a sentence, and then you broaden out. Right? The thing about writing's not hard. It can be tedious, but it's like if you write a page a day of a novel that you want to write a novel page a day, in 365 days you've got a novel.
Well said. Like James is doing. James is like 100 words. If I can force 100 words out of myself every single day, suddenly it stacks up, and then before you know it, you got something, don't you? Wild.
Yeah. Do you mind if I read a little bit the opening of this Marcus thing, just to give an idea to people who've been listening to your show and me talk?
Oh, let's hear it.
When I call in.
Let's hear it.
All right, an idea of just what kind of a quality writer I think I am.
Sure.
It won't take long. As a matter of fact, it's basically flash fiction. Amelia didn't bother to check whether locks on the front door had been changed. She went straight to the living room window, knowing Marcos never locked it before going to bed. Fireflies darted around her head, and she thought a couple of may have gotten themselves trapped in her long and fine blonde hair. What would the city medical examiner think when strangled fireflies were plucked from her scalp during the autopsy? She wonders, slightly amused by the concept of cooties that glowed in the dark. She did her fingernail under the narrow gap between window and sill, breaking a nail she had devoted time to have manicured and polished only 8 hours before. She had wanted to be groomed to perfection in preparation to be the most beautiful cadaver ever to lie on a slab in a morgue since Marilyn Monroe, and now that part of her plan was ruined.
I love it.
Can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're so good.
You're
so good at this.
Yo, real quick.
The window resisted only a little before Amelia could slip her fingers under enough to raise it. She put her handbag through first and let it drop inside. She hated to remove her expensive burgundy stiletto shoes, but she needed to press her bare feet against the white siding to aid her arms in boosting her enough to be able to crawl through the open window and into the house. Her short skirt did allow for plenty of legroom, but slid so far up her ass while her knees rocked on the seal, any passerby could not have been faulted for thinking she was mooning them. She swung her right leg through and tumbled to the living room floor. For the first time, Amelia was grateful Marcus had won when he had refused her repeated request to tear up his thickly padded wall-to-wall cream carpet in favor of her preference for bare hardwood floors. Her nose buried in the carpet fibers would certainly have been broken had it landed on the wood underneath. Too dark to see if she'd lost some of her makeup to the carpet, Amelia could only hope no serious smudging had occurred that might further damage her goal of soon being the coroner's wet dream come true. Amelia clasped her purse in the hand that suffered a broken fingernail. She wiggled onto her feet, tugged her skirt back down, and stood in the dark for a moment, listening to the ticking of the mantel clock, which rested above the fireplace. She hated that clock, and all the old furniture Marcos brought new years before they met and never replaced. His 25-inch RCA color television was most insufferable, especially when everybody they knew had flat TVs the size of movie theater screens. Pardon me. Marcos cherished the antique, though, as he did his father's 1950-era stereo console he played those boring Beethoven records on because no cabinet models were made anymore, and he insisted a television should look like a piece of furniture, not a huge, ugly black plastic picture frame on a wall. She expected Marcus would let her refurbish his house after they married, but that was the first of many times he disappointed her. There's only a little bit left, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Throughout their 7 years of marriage, it remained only his house. Marcos never even bothered to add her name to the property deed. It was as though he knew their marriage wouldn't last. His cheating on her with one slut after another was to guarantee that. Her cauldron of bitterness refreshed Amelia's determination to see her plan through. Her eyes had adjusted to the dark, though she could have closed her eyes and still easily navigated the stairs, for Marcos never let her rearrange anything, the living room exactly as it was when she first stepped into it the night of their first date. The steps creaked with her ascent to the second floor, but Amelia was not concerned Marcos would hear anything below the sound of his own snoring, which grew louder as she made her way through the hallway towards the bedroom. She had only recently stopped sharing with him. Moonlight shone through both bedroom windows, one ray illuminating the pile of clothing Marcus had shed before getting into bed, and the other shining on what was clearly a woman's apparel draped over Marcus's reading chair. Boy, this is getting good. Amelia moved to the side of the bed where she could look down on the brunette, whose face was buried in Marcus's hairy chest. She had read something once that men preferred blondes unless married to one, then are prone to cheat with brunettes. The proof of that was right below her eyes. Amelia withdrew the gun from her handbag and debated whether to first aim for Marco's groin. She thought it a waste of time and ammunition to shoot the brunette, who, after all, was not likely more than some lonely and unattractive slut Marcos found while slumming in his favorite smelly dark bars. Instead, Amelia touched the short barrel of the gun to the left side of her ex-husband's head, just as he heaved one more breathtaking snore, causing the barrel to slip in the fraction of a second it took his former wife to pull the trigger. In the instant of the explosion, the brunette pitched up and rolled off the bed. The barfly had great survival reflexes. Amelia had to applaud her for that. "Please don't kill me." The naked creature, crouched on him at Amelia's feet, whimpered, her eyes captured by the wisps of smoke fluttering from the small gun's barrel. Is he your boyfriend? Your husband? You didn't tell me he was married." "He has a tendency to forget that from time to time," Amelia said wryly. "Get your clothes and get out." It's almost done. The brunette's escape was such an amazing, almost singular motion, a pivot from floor to clothes and out the door. She had the grace of a professional dancer, Amelia thought, like the stripper kind. She let the gun drop to the floor. Amelia put her handbag at the foot of the bed, unzipped an inside pocket, and extracted the small bottle labeled set of Dalfo 40 she had purchased from a Tijuana pet shop while vacationing in Mexico 2 months before. She had little sleep in the 13 hours since her double shift at Mercy Hospital's intensive care unit, but the lethal dose of phenobarbital she brought to her lips would speed her into eternal slumber, no more subjected to the cruel demands of work, love, and Marcos. She pinched her nostrils closed and drank all the bitter poison. Love was for suckers, Amelia thought, as she undressed. When all of her garments joined Marcos, she laid stomach down, stopped the blankets next to her ex-husband. Atop the blankets next to her husband. She was surprised by the small amount of blood that trickled about a quarter of an inch above Marcos's left ear. "Marcos," she whispered, "can you still hear me? Are you not quite dead yet? You promised to be faithful to me, but like most men, I guess your heart pumps too much blood to your dick whenever some slut shimmies her ass near you. But you belong to me. You signed..." I just went too fast. Only 2 sentences left here.
We're with you. You
signed the contract and verbally agreed to all the terms. Now I am enforcing the agreement. Soon, very soon, we will be together for eternity, even if it is in hell. The last sounds Amelia heard before sleep engulfed her were a mix of police and ambulance sirens. Perhaps the stripper had summoned them, she thought, visualizing the scene of all those men bursting into the room and discovering her draped nude across the bed like Marilyn Monroe. Only, unlike Marilyn, she was not departing her life alone. That's it.
Ah, damn. Hey, just in case you ever wondered if Robert had a dark side, welcome to the dark side. Fire stuff. We got calls we got to get to. Amazing.
But the thing is, Michael, I don't know where that came from. All right? I mean, I sit down, I wrote the first couple sentences there, and then all this stuff came out. I had no idea that this is where I was going. All right, I think that's probably the case with Herschel, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Herschel got a take on that, and then we'll move on to the next call. MJ, hang tight. We're going to get you. Sorry for the wait there. Go ahead, Herschel, on that, and then we'll take the next call.
That's what happens. That's what happens. That when we write, it just comes, but it's there. Like that's all. It's just there, and the more you're in touch with it, I think the healthier you are. That's just my opinion.
Now, Herschel, I'm on this Linktree thing. All right, and I'm still trying to find out.
Okay, I know the Linktree is old. It doesn't even. Most of those links don't work anymore. Look, just go to ycr.info. Just do that.
I did, but I wound up some kind of radio website.
Radio?
Yeah.
No, ycr.info. INFO.
YCR dot what dot what?
INFO. Info. Like short for information. Info.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. So I'm a
Wait a
feeling.
minute. See, it brings me to West Coast Radio.
Okay. I tell you what.
Listen.
Wait, hold on. I got it. We're not going to do tech support right now. I'm going to send you an email, Robert, with the exact link. Okay. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it. Thanks for the call. You're amazing. Have a great night. Appreciate that.
You too.
Thank you. That's the Robert. You know him, you love him. TroubledMinds.org/friends. So Robert, check out his stuff. Yeah, it is a little unclear. There's no like buy now button. So I think maybe that's something you could work on. Just FYI, because he mentioned that earlier when he was looking at this. So I'll get this to him, and let's help Herschel out. Appreciate that very much, my man. MJ in Virginia. Anything real quick, Hirsch, before we go to MJ? We got people waiting a long time.
No, let's hear from MJ. Then I'm going to read a story about a dream when he's done, unless there's somebody behind him. It doesn't look like there is from here, is it?
Yeah, we're good. Phone line is clear. So let's do it. Let's go. Sorry about that, MJ. You've been waiting quite a while. Welcome to the thing. What is your take here? Go right ahead. You know we can dabble in many things.
Well, I have a book. I started. It's my life story. Actually, several books, 3 or 4 books. And what I'm hearing is what I'm missing out on, because it's a documentation. It's what it is. It's documented. But I didn't elaborate on when you're writing it, you take the words and you put a movie in a person's head because they have to know, did the bird land on a hickory tree, a tulip poplar, this type of thing. I would just write down what happened and that would be it. So this kind of broadens it. Plus I have to learn the English language. And probably take some writing classes or something, because the sentences need to flow a certain way. Sometimes it sounds better if you say it differently. Put the end at the beginning at the end. It sounds better, something like that. So that's what I'm hearing right now from you talking. Now you said something about if you had a book. And let's say it's good enough to be a movie, somebody makes a movie out of it, not to do that. Why would that be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you need the money, do it. But they're going to ruin it. They're going to turn it into a formula. They're going to turn it into like a simple, dumb formula. They're going to break it down to its basic elements. And because they think everybody's stupid, and they also want to dumb everybody down. This is too complex for a mass audience. We need to just take this out and we'll just put these images. What they understand is that people think in images. They do understand that.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about the book too. When you put the words down, you have to create a visual,
right,
and emotions for people to relate to what you're saying.
You show, don't tell is what you try to do. But when they make movies, they have these formulas, and they try to make everything that anybody writes fit into these formulas. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do, and it doesn't always. The formula doesn't always fit the story. It just doesn't.
Well, when you're writing a book, though, aren't you supposed to take the words and create a visual, or they travel with you through the?
Yeah, but people, when they write stories, also usually sometimes, unless it's like you're talking about like an auto pic or a biopic or something like that, like they have a point. You know what I mean? And the people in those movies, they don't care about the point. They're going to break it down into some basic formula and just ruin it. They're going to do that. And they didn't used to do that. Movies used to be cool. Like movies used to.
Yeah, they used to have some good movies.
Yeah, and now they're all just formula based, and it's just like everybody's just kind of mailing it in, and the actors aren't even taking it seriously anymore. It's just kind of terrible. It's like we are in decline. We're in decline. People think in images, and when, it's kind of like what I was saying about before. We're talking about What's the difference between, the evil twin of good fiction is propaganda. Well, that's true. And it's awful because they use a television so they can lie and then associate it with an image. And it makes it exponentially more powerful. Well, you can do that in fiction too. You can do something good.
Yeah.
And so what they do with these formulas is they just take all that out and they just turn it into a stimulation thing where somebody gets in a fight and then they get T-boned by a car and they just ruin it. They just ruin the story.
Oh no, it wouldn't be like that. I don't think they could. I don't think they could take it and do that. Because it's my life. Is what I'm.
Well, that's
I'm
the difference between a biopic and a movie. Like in a biopic, they're going to tell the story of the person's life, but in like fiction, they ruin it.
Okay.
The fiction and biopics, fictions and nonfiction, they're different things.
Well, mine would be considered fiction, but it would be true because of the content.
Okay, so based on true events.
Yeah, it'd be based on true events.
Right.
So I was just kind of thinking about that because I actually got it started, but my mind, I'm in the beginning. I was 8 years old, and suddenly I'm 50 miles ahead in my mind, and it's so difficult for me to sit there. But I think what will be helping is to draw out each scene so they have a basic idea of where it's traveling to. Because I never did that. It would just be writing down, this happened at 2:30 and at 3 o'clock, this type of thing. So it was never really, it didn't have any volume to it, I guess you could say. And that would be my only problem. Well, that's one of my problems. But yeah.
Our stuff just about out of time. You want to hang after the break, MJ? You tell me.
Yeah, we've got one other thing.
Stay right there. Be right back with MJ here and with Hirsch. I'm gonna mute you guys up, and we're gonna hear a final story here from Herschel as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being part of this. Don't forget to go check out the book itself. We're talking about Herschel Sterling just released a book. Let's help him out. Let's go buy it. He told me earlier, and this is a private conversation, so I'm breaking some confidence here. If I could sell 1,000 copies, this could change my life. Let's start one at a time. I'm going to buy it myself. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Drifting through the quantum haze. Mind entangled in a daze. Whispers in the neural mist. Echoes of what might exist. Lost in time in this web we spin. It's alright beyond our skin. Consciousness forever twined in the dark unseen. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. Though we're scattered, we are reflected. Frequencies that pull us in. Parallel worlds kept within. Synapses that intertwine. Fragments of an endless line. Feel the pulse of a distant star. It's alright, we are who we are. In the void we find the light. Entangled hearts. Quantum dreams, we're all connected. In the silence, hear the call. One by one we rise and fall. Quantum minds world so clear. Quantum dreams were all connected. Though we're scattered, we reflected. Dark energy in the depths we find. Mysteries of the human mind. Particles that drift afar. Whispers of who we are. Hold the thread of the great unknown. It's alright, we are never alone. Flow through time on currents thin. Universe is found within. Feel the echoes of the past. In this moment, futures cast. Through the veil of the space between. It's alright, life's a lucid dream.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Getting ready to go. One final segment here. We got more from MJ. We got Herschel, a story, and an outro as well. Don't forget, I'm going to link this book in all the chats. Please go buy it. I'm buying this book. This book gets my full recommendation. You should buy this book too. Let's help our friends. And maybe just one day when you write your own book, we'll help you sell it on Troubled Minds. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds, yada yada, blah blah blah, all the things. I feel like we're always out of time on this damn show. If you want to be part of the conversation, you know what to do. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We're here with Herschel Sterling tonight talking about the Muses Hour, I'm calling this, an alchemy of early inspiration. Is it possible to sort of dial and tune in the Muses themselves? How do you sort of not just dodge writer's block, but does a discipline or an actual aspect of your habits sort of tune in a frequency where you can, be a little more tuned into what they're doing and how you're feeling and how this can, inspire other human beings. Back to you, Herschel, and then we'll go back to MJ, and then I'd love to hear your story. Welcome back, Hersch. Still feeling okay? I know it's getting late out there, and what's going on?
No, I'm doing great. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good.
Good is good.
Yeah, let's get back to MJ, man. What's he got?
Okay, let's do it. Let's just go to MJ in Virginia. Unmute. You are on Troubled Minds. Go ahead, sir.
Well, one other thing. Like I said, I really have to put some time into wordsmith and other things. But the way this would work out for me, and I don't know if this has ever been done, or maybe it has, but I'd have to take a section of my life and write about that. Other things would happen along the way, but that would have to be more in another book because it would be too much in one book. There's just it would be like a chop shop movie is what I have to write a book on. And that's what I kept thinking about because I've got so much that went on in my life. So I'd have to take a certain section to follow that out and then back up in another book and start, like in the mid 80s with another portion of my life that took me in that direction. But, the books would be, I don't know. It would be like a series, but it wouldn't be. In order to understand this section, you'd have to have that book to understand some of this book.
Yeah, those are out there. Those are called serials.
Serials? Like
serials,
killer?
Yeah. Like cereal, like SERIAL.
Minus the killer part, not the killer part. Right, exactly.
What are we talking about here? But that's the way it would have to be for me. Because I'm full in several parts of my life. It's and the way it turned out, it's actually pretty full. So that would be possible to do then. So that would be an okay thing, I guess. Because I thought about that, but it's just, and I had a blog and I've got a lot of entries in it. Plus I copied down a lot of dreams and hauntings and all kinds of stuff. I've got pages of it.
Yeah, you
That if I
sound
went
like you
back,
have a lot of stories for sure.
yeah, and taking that and going back and then slowing down and trying to, picture it so you can see it, so you can feel it, type of thing. Actually, I think there's quite a bit there. And I also have a movie, and I also have a sequel to it, but it's not a book. It could be a book, I guess.
It sounds like you got work to do, MJ. Get your ass to work, brother. What are you doing?
You need to learn how to write.
No, the movie's good.
You need to
The
learn how
movie's
to write treatments.
Script.
You need to learn how to
script.
write treatments first. No, write a treatment first, and then write the
What's a treatment?
It's too hard to explain like this, but like you could just research how to write a film treatment, and it'll show you the outline of how to do it. It basically outlines. You said it's a way to set up an outline for your script.
I already got that.
Well, okay.
I've got the story. I just need script, and then the players go in and do their thing.
Okay. Well, good then.
There you go.
But it's a gay spoof, is what it is. It's funny. It's funny. It really is.
Go after
Then I had a
it.
sequel. Well, then I had a sequel, but if the aliens come in.
Okay.
And but the movie, This Day and Time, it might be too racist. That's the only problem with all of it.
There you go. Okay. That's it. I'm cutting you off. We went aliens and racist. MJ, you're the best. Get your ass to work. We're looking forward to hearing when this becomes a thing. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being patient, and thanks for being part of this. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Yeah. Hey, look, there's a lot of amazing stories out there. A lot of amazing, not just actual experiences, but the fiction, the nonfiction, how these things blend or don't blend. I don't know. You tell me. Like I said, these things don't get done unless you get to work on them. So hey, get your ass to work. MJ, you get your ass to work, and everybody else out there too. And don't forget. And I say that in the nicest way. I'm just not trying to be a punk here. But the point is that art is inspiration. It is exactly that, personified. And so you can do it to sort of shout to the gods in some capacity. We've talked about this in the past. But the most direct connection you're going to make is a human connection. And so, yeah, look at this. Like I said, I know for a fact that this show has inspired lots of people creating lots of things. And I am humbled and honored and blessed by that. But again, I am here because I was inspired by other things. So yeah, fire stuff. What do you got on what MJ has there? And then I got a story for you to read, or you do, and then go ahead. Welcome back.
What I think that he needs to just make a plan and set a schedule and make a deadline and get it done. That's what I think.
Same thing. Get it done. Like I said, give yourself a 7:05 p.m. showtime and make sure you have something ready to go. You see?
Yeah.
It's nobody makes me do this. Nobody says, Mike, you're on the clock. This is my time schedule, and I'm here because I've created this reality. These realities can't be created. Yeah, great advice. Let's hear your story. A preamble on that, and then love to hear it.
Well, I just want to say there's a lot of stuff I want to do, and the stuff that I want to do is going to benefit people. So I need this book to be successful. That's what I'm saying. So if you can't buy it, share the links, please. Please. There's stuff I need to get done. I got a good 10 or 15 years left in me, and I'm not done, and I need to get some stuff done. So
okay, do me a really big favor. Really big favor. I'm with you there. You gotta
stop pounding on the desk.
No,
stop pounding on the desk.
No, you got no. Well, that too, but you gotta figure out this website. It's not obvious where you click to buy me. So just an FYI.
If just go to the shop at the top of the page.
Okay, I'm just saying. You want to make it as obvious as possible for everybody and not have to click sublinks and just saying. So some good feedback was about to mention it.
I know. I'm still working on it.
Okay, all good. Let me know if you need help. Let's hear your story.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a dream. This was one where I ran to the desk. I mean, I didn't even go to the bathroom before I wrote that. It's called Dr. Freebius Lipsmechalotopus, The Absence of Pathology in the Fourth Dimension, from the Precipice Lectures Archive. And it's from Flash August Fiction. It was August 17th. This is my little preface to it. I woke up giggling this morning. That's pretty much all I have to say about this one, except that I have 2 podcast episodes where I theorize about other dimensions. One is called How's the Fourth Dimension? And the other is called Alien Avoidance on Our Coinciding Plane. There's no stories in there. I just riff, but I have a good time. Riffing isn't as much my thing as telling stories. So here's the story. The Absence of Pathology in the Fourth Dimension by Dr. Freebius Lipsmechalotopus from the Precipice Lectures Archive. Ladies and gentlemen, to discuss the fourth dimension, we must discuss some laws that govern your third dimensional existence you are currently experiencing. It is not necessary to understand how electricity works in order to use it. When one walks into a room, one uses a light switch and light fills the room. This is functional knowledge. We need not comprehend the details and intricacies of electronics in order to use electronics. In our experience in your 3 dimensions, there are many activities that are possible. It is possible to do unnecessary and even undesirable things. It is not wise or necessary to do a thing simply because it is possible. Doing such things, however, does not alter or disrupt the nature of this 3-dimensional realm. The use of devastating weapons, for instance, is utilized by those with devious and avaricious intent and who do not possess the capacity for the creation and exchange of values. This is possible and in fact common in your plane of existence in this realm. There is no law of nature or physics in your dimension that prevents this. These activities are not possible in the fourth dimension, to which some will become a part. There are laws of nature and physics in the fourth dimension that prevent such puerility. There is vibratory incompatibility with certain minds and their fields. Actors will be bound to this dimensional realm that we are experiencing unless somehow better thinking and practices happen as a matter of course along their lifetimes. First, we must describe how the fourth dimension is structured and what material it is comprised of. Our imaginations are the best example for describing the material, the matter that the fourth dimension is composed of. It does not function in the same way that our imaginations do, but is composed of the same matter. That is not to say that the fourth dimension allows you to create ex nihilo, that is to say one cannot simply create something from nothing in the fourth dimension, as we can in our imaginations. In this 3-dimensional existence, we watch skilled magicians create flowers out of thin air and pull rabbits out of hats. These are illusions. To actually do that is not possible in the fourth dimension either. However, existing matter can easily be manipulated physically using one's hands and bodies. For instance, one might have a bowl of soup, but no spoon, only a butter knife. In the fourth dimension, one can shape the knife easily with one's fingers to fashion a spoon for eating the soup. Suppose there's a large basket on the dinner table, but only two tomatoes are in the basket, and the basket is taking up too much room on the table. One simply takes the basket and, using one's hands and understanding the lattice of the basket, simply compresses the basket with one's hands. One can reshape the basket so that it fits the 2 tomatoes. Now there is more room on the table. This sort of thing is common practice in the fourth dimension. These are elementary examples. You have a small box, but you need a large box for a large item. One simply changes the size of the box for your large item, and so on. One cannot pull things out of thin air, as you can with your imagination, but you can manipulate already existing material physically in a way that is not possible in your current realm. There are certain conceptions about value and function that are simply a part of a person's nature in the fourth dimension. The very nature of the fourth dimension is integrated with all the natures associated in it. Therefore, pathology cannot be a part of that dimension. Pathological people and such behaviors would be prohibitive to the very matter that existence is composed of in the fourth dimension, and it is necessary for the fourth dimension to exist. All dimensions must exist. They coincide and are related. If pathologies that are possible in the current dimension that you are experiencing in this moment were to breach the fourth dimension, it would be a prohibitive disruption affecting all of existence in all dimensions. The sort of piracy and mendaciousness that can exist in your dimension simply cannot, by nature and the laws of physics, be a part of the fourth dimension. There are no violations of laws in physics in any dimension. It is the simple law of vibratory incompatibility. One might consider the reports of military personnel, where crafts appear above nuclear silos. These may be concerns to beings from other dimensions. Understanding how such operations could affect them in their dimension, they perhaps feel a need to intervene in this dimension in order to preserve their own. Why, some ask, why is it not possible for such mendacity to exist in the fourth dimension? Is it perfect there? Of course it is not perfect. It is more advanced, so to speak, but not perfect. There are imperfect events and, of course, imperfect people who make mistakes and take liberties that are possible, though perhaps not wise. To understand the reason, it's imperative to remember the material, the very matter of the fourth dimension consists of the same matter that our imaginations comprised of. Here is the illustration to use. You may think of the imagination of individuals as fields of energy or waves or particles. It should be easy then to understand how affecting the fields or waves or particles of the fourth dimension as a whole in the behaviors that we have become accustomed to in this dimension would be disruptive, in fact, destructive to existence itself. For the simple reason, those who rule the three-dimensional realm that you experience simply could not be a part of the fourth dimension. Again, only those who would, by their matter, of course, practice value creation and production, be a part of that dimension. Thoughts of destruction would interfere with existence. While there are blunders and varying degrees of judgment, no pathological behavior is possible, as it is antithetical to the very existence of the material, the field, the waves, the particles of which the fourth dimension is comprised. These are simply the natural and physical laws of the fourth dimension. The end. 1,054 words written in about 45 minutes.
There you go. Fire. Yeah. It's I don't know, right? Where does it come from? Where does it come from? That's really the basis of the conversation tonight, and the idea of where do those ideas flow through? And I don't know, did you find in the process that you had, I don't know, like a particular Wednesday that was difficult and it really had problems, or because you committed to the process, it seemed like it was kind of easy? Like what was your take on really pressing forward with, every morning, no matter what, 30 stories, 30 days, first thing as soon as possible? Like I said, even some of them before you ran to the bathroom. Hey, you can't do that to me. I have to run to the bathroom first. But did you find it difficult or easy, or did it start to flow? Did you have problems the first week? What was it like?
The stories that I write that are not from like a really kind of deep realm where I'm like meeting my deadline. Those stories are the ones that are the most innocuous stories. They're the ones that aren't like challenging or controversial, Herschel. You know what I mean? Those get the most likes and the most listens. The innocuous kind of non-troubled minds stories are the ones that people tend to enjoy the most. Like they're nice, cute family stories, couple stories, relationship stories, things like that. they like those stories better. A lot of people do. I think people are looking for a break from the craziness a lot of time.
Yeah, and we do a lot of crazy here in this space for sure. Derek has got a question for the Night Stalker. Says, did telling it as a character help? The channeling.
Oh, yeah.
The channeling. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's why I use pseudonyms. In fact, the one story I wrote, the big long book I wrote from the perspective of one of the characters in the story. And you didn't know it. Like, I don't want to give it away, but like you didn't realize till the end of the story who the narrator was. And the last chapter I give away who's been narrating the story the whole time. So yeah, characters are great. Channeling through somebody is fun. It's really fun. It's just, I play my mind like a game, like it says on the cover of my book. Some people sit on their couch and do the things with the thumbs and those joysticks, and I play my mind like a game. You know?
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's So the question becomes, right? Because I'm a troubled mind, a weirdo. If you are channeling through a character, whom is channeling through you, sir? Got an idea there?
I don't know. This brings up a great movie that people should watch. If you haven't watched it, it's a movie called Stranger Than Fiction. It is it's a cool movie. It's a Troubled Minds movie all the way. You should all go look for that movie and watch it. It's called Stranger Than Fiction.
I've never seen it.
Really good. Emma Thompson, I think her name, is in it, and Will Ferrell does a really cool job in a dramatic role. It's a bunch of great actors are in it. The female actress whose last name is Gyllenhaal is in it. Queen Latifah is in it. It's a really great movie. And I'm not Maggie Gyllenhaal, that's right. And heck yeah, of course Sarah has seen it. Of course she has. That's my friend from Hard Lens Media. Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media wrote the afterword for the book, by the way.
Nice.
And you should check him out. He's every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. This guy works. Mike, talk about work, talk about deadlines, talk about tenacity. Kit Cabello, man, Hard Lens Media. That's why I wanted his energy in my book, man. That's why I asked him to write. And he did it. He came through, man. He's cool. But I would watch that movie. Definitely watch that movie. It talks exactly about what you're talking about right now, what you just asked me.
Yeah.
How much time do we have left?
About 5-ish minutes. We can go a little long though if you need to. We got your clip to play. If you want to play that or skip it, you tell me. Your show.
I want to play it, but I've got a story that is really short.
We'll go long. Read the story. Don't
it's
even.
Really short. It's only 200 words, but it's really good. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read the story, and then as soon as I say the end, you play the clip.
You got it, buddy.
And then you end your show. And I think we're going to be really close to time.
Perfect.
When we do that.
Sounds good.
I think we'll be really close to time. So let me get this open. I had to reopen it for some reason. It's way down here.
Usually, if you want to direct me, you have to tip. But it's Herschel's show tonight, so we're gonna do it Herschel's way. I'm just kidding, of course.
All right. So this is called The Crust, and I was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and the outer edge of the Aurora Borealis, the lights. What do they call them? The lights. Aurora Borealis was extending directly over. What's that? What? Hello? What?
Sorry, go ahead.
You say something. Okay.
My bad.
So the outer edge of the Aurora Borealis was extending directly overhead. There was cloud cover, preventing it from being seen directly. The cloud cover looked like a crust, like we're in a massive pinkish purple cave, or that we are at the center of the earth, apprised of the hoax that has held us here, making our way from our deception. The crust. They had been told their whole lives that the innards of their planet was the totality of existence. Of course, there were fantasies and fairy tales about some mythical outside, and now they were leaving those pacifiers behind. They had finally broken the code and spread the solution to the equation with great stealth throughout the colony. They achieved great expertise in their duties and had created efficient systems that allowed their rulers to leave them to their own devices. It was during that time that the maps were disseminated. It is today that they make their way to the surface, leaving the production of goods to itself, leaving their rulers to their sleeping bellies, and leaving the caves forever. Those who left first finally reached the horizon. Nervously, passionately, fervently, they dug their tools into the crust. The end.
This place we live is not a joke. When I gaze at the stars at night, when I look out over the hills during the day, I'm consistently reminded that we live on a planet in space, wailing through the galaxy like a screaming rock. We are on such a small planet in such a tiny galaxy that no matter where we are in our galactic cycle, the universe of stars seem immovable. That's incredible. We are a moment. We are an instant in an infinite universe. We are an infinite in an instant universe. And every event that has ever happened here and that will ever happen here happened simultaneously, like in the snap of a finger. The instances of existence are so close in proximity that the whole thing is a singular material event. It's essentially over already. It's hard to believe we're even experiencing it. I hope we can be here tomorrow, don't you? There are people who would say that makes us insignificant, and I very strongly disagree. The fact that we are improbable is the very thing that makes us momentous. We are conscious beings who can observe ourselves. We are consciousness observing itself. We are each a refraction of light from a single source. You are the individual and the whole simultaneously. You're a masterful, mysterious, distinctive, and anomalous paradox. And I'd say that is rather significant in the context of the time that our galaxy is here and the infinitesimal millifraction of time that we each have within that context. The reality of your consciousness and your power to observe and to manipulate matter, to use space, the essence of your energy, and the planning of your time in this three-dimensional plane. The influence of your refraction of the source is immeasurably exponential in the cosmic expanse. Why? Because it expands as far as you are able to observe into the infinite universe. Why? Because your observation affects it. Why? Because superposition. You affect what you observe. You are rare. You're not only a body, you have radiance. You radiate light. Your eyes can't see the frequency, but there's light. You are a luminescent jewel that can shine on yourself from within yourself. You are significant beyond the perception of anyone else. Shine on yourself as you shine on others. And what an honor that you shine on me now. Smell the inside of your nose. Do it right now.
We're going to go along. Hey, you are incredible, my man. The thing, I wanted to mention this when Robert was reading his stories, and you as well, is there's magic when Recognize, just to throw it out there to the fam, when you're reading the words of somebody else, right? Sometimes there's unexpected things, or your kind of mind goes into autopilot. But when somebody reads something they have written specifically, there's a magic there. It's like so not only is the message there, but the flow is there. You know what I mean? Like you see me do it when I'm fumbling. Like when I read my own stuff, mostly that's written in my style, I flow through it. But when I read something that somebody else has written or kind of changed, or right, like kind of maybe the comfort level of being unfamiliar is I don't know. There's some magic. There's some magic in that old still cat they found, as I like to say, and there's definitely magic in Herschel, and of course in this book, which you should buy. We're going to work on this. We'll share this in the Discord and all the rest of this, just to make sure. Please, like I said, I'm buying this book. He sent me a copy, of course, but I am going to buy this book. You should buy this book too, Herschel. We're going to go along, so there's no time constraints here. But take on that. Doesn't it feel like when you've written something and the author reading it, there's an additional sort of magic involved? It kind of feels that way to me.
Yeah, because they have already internalized it. You know, it's already a part of them. So they're just reading a part of themselves. It's more natural. And books that are audiobooks, like I've listened to books that were read by not like I've listened to a couple of audiobooks that were first done by somebody other than the author, and then the author decided to do it themselves, and so I did it, and it was way better. Just like not even close. You should, if you do an audiobook, you should do it yourself. Do it yourself.
Which is back to where we started. Get busy. Get busy. If you're inspired by any minute or any moment of this, any minute or any moment we've ever done on this show, any minute or any moment retrocausally that we might do in the future, get busy. Because remember, the best way to handshake with other humans is inspiration. And the best way to handshake inspiration is by creating something. And there's no shortcuts. Get your ass busy and begin creating something. If you're in the middle of creating something, continue creating something. Trust me on this. It is not just an outlet. It is the human inspiration, as we always talk about, which you should buy Herschel's book. Again, I did write the foreword on it. I'm not going to read it to you. You should go check this out, because there's a lot of amazing stories in this. And like I said, the actual inspiration for this was dedication. It was an idea that he stuck with and tried it a couple times over the course of the past year, and it turns into magic. And here we are. What else you got, Herschel? Let's wind it down and wrap this. But appreciate it very much. I'm buying your book. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It cannot get any more of a recommendation from me. Buy this thing. Let's help our friends, and that's exactly the point of this. Your take here, and let's go.
Well, February is right around the corner. I got a couple of warm-ups that'll be done before the weekend. I'll be on my Substack, and then I'm going to do August again. But if I have time, depending on how everything goes and what other kind of income situations I'm dealing with, I want to do 2 for June. I want to try doing 2 a day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night for an entire month of June. That's something I want to try. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do. I'm not committing to that right now, but it's something I hope to be able to do. It's something I hope to be able to do. But there's a lot I want to do. I've got important media stuff that I want to do, that I want to create, and it costs money, and I don't have it. And it's going to benefit everybody. Everybody's going to see it and get it and go, oh, why didn't anybody else think of that? It's one of those kinds of things. So I just, I'm trying to do everything I can. This book, I have so much fun marketing it, though. I've got characters coming up that I'm doing videos. I've got like 3 characters that I've made up, and they're going to be doing videos and like advertising the book in like different ways and stuff. It's just, I'm having fun with it. So
that's sweet.
I'm hoping it builds into something that it creates a real income.
We'll keep talking about it for sure. If there's one place to go to find this book, to find you, to help you on your podcast, to help you in your endeavors, where would that be? So you said the link tree is out of date. That's not good.
That link that you sent last time was the right one. That's the one to send, I guess. It just depends. But I don't think it's that hard to find it. I put the links all over the website where to buy it. But if you go to that one that says shop in it, I'll put it in the Discord chat right now.
Yeah, so buy me a coffee, right? Is where the link goes?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to do that right now because I'm too broke.
Got it. Okay, so I do have that link. I'm going to drop it in all the chat. Again, I'm buying this book. You should buy this book. This is the whole point, human inspiration. Let's talk to each other. Let's consider ideas. Let's help, and let's grow these things. And yeah, there you go. Steve wants to know, can we get a signed copy direct? There you go. James has offered that service. Are you doing that?
Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, it would have to be a stylus signature because it's only digital right now. It's going to take me some work to be able to get the print one done because I have to break it down because it's too long. So I have to figure out how to shorten it without losing anything.
Copy that.
So
okay, sweet. Let us know. Keep us abreast. As you know, you are a part of the fam, and love to hear as this progresses. And we'll do more. We'll talk about this more because I think there's a ton of ideas here that are still we haven't really traversed just yet. That I've got a whole list of stuff to talk about, but I didn't want to just bogart the entire thing here. But looking forward to whatever you got next coming, and challenge yourself, guys. Look again. That don't forget that this is not just a labor of love, but a self-imposed deadline, and there's magic there. I promise you. You're listening to this because of a self-imposed deadline from me. Okay? Nobody makes me be here. Nobody makes me be on time. Nobody does any of this except for that self-imposed deadline. You get it? Like suddenly you start getting after your own ass and magical things start to happen. Herschel's doing it. We're doing it. Or are you doing it? That's what I got. Final thought, my friend. Let's get out of here.
Evolution is a decision.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yes, it is. That's it. Okay, that's it. All right, perfect. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you very much. Shane says, is there a PDF?
Thank you. I appreciate you too. You're the best.
Thank you. Shane wants to know, is there a PDF or audio version I can get a hold of because I can't actually read a written copy?
Yeah, I can get him a PDF.
Okay, there you go.
Just if he's in Discord, just hit me up in Discord. I'll get you figured. I can send whatever kind you want. If you put a note in when you buy your book, just tell me you want a PDF. I'll send you a PDF instead. It's no problem.
Which I can attest to. Herschel's like, hey, what format do you want this in? I'm all, is there any other format than a PDF? He's all, yeah, I got this, I got that, I got an Apple thing.
You can have an ebook, you can have Mobi, that's for Apple, you can have Kindle, Amazon, you can have a PDF, you can have whatever you want.
Exactly. And I said, perfect. How about a PDF? Because I don't know what any of those other things are. But there you go. That's exactly the point. If you do, then Herschel's got you covered. Appreciate you, brother. We're going to keep talking about this. We're going to keep pushing this and keep dreaming, keep thinking, keep being, you, because we appreciate you very much. Thanks for spending your time and energy with us. Thanks for imposing those deadlines on yourself. And thanks for the inspiration. And a couple things real quick. Scrolling up in the chat here. So Matsal said, so ways up, that's so talking about the Robert, that was magic when the Robert read his story, but he also had something, he said this, Herschel is amazing, the inspiration is flowing right now. That's exactly the point. Don't forget, when you create things, that's exactly the sentiment. And don't forget our friends. Thanks for being part of this. You're the best, Herschel. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for writing this book. Thanks for challenging yourself and taking us along the journey with you. I appreciate it. And everybody else here appreciates it as well.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, man. We are so grateful for you. Thanks everybody who stayed up late with me and who did this. And go write. Let's start a writers club and co-publish together on Troubled Minds. Let's do that.
Amen. Amen. Well said. If you want to help Troubled Minds help our friends, start by helping Herschel. Go buy this book for as low as $11.65. You can have, 85 flash fiction stories. Yeah. Again, right? Human inspiration. If you're not inspired, I don't know what you're doing here. That's exactly the point. Let's inspire each other. Let's continue these ideas and challenge yourself. That's exactly it. Like I promise you, like I said, I'm not a public speaker. I'm here because I challenged myself. Not good with people, all the rest, right? You can trace it all the way back to when I was 20 years old, thought I was like king shit. Let me tell you, I wasn't, and I'm still not. You get it? You have to challenge yourself. You have to move past these mental blocks and chase your own deadlines and impose them on you. And regarding art, I've said this before, that perfect is the enemy of, what's the term? Perfect is the enemy of progress. It'll never be perfect. We don't have enough time for that. But if you're scared of releasing something that's imperfect, I promise you this. I'm not the answers guy, but I promise you this, you're doing it wrong. That's that. Help our friends. Go buy this book. I'm going to buy this book. You should too. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Thank you, Herschel, for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for writing this book. Thanks for challenging yourself and continuing to press the envelope. And of course, this one's for Herschel. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.